Hey, and we're back.
Hey, high five.
No. Are we high-fiving? No, it might not sound good. I'm definitely going to knock over these. But I have to say, we've got these lovely coffee mugs.
Friends, my friend.
Friends. Ooh, friend.
And I think all cups should be 15 ounce, which they are, because like the cup you had before, I ameliorated the position. When you
word of the day toilet paper.
When you twirl the fork, it goes everywhere. You can't mix something that's in the.
It's because you've got your favourite twirler, haven't you?
Yeah, I mean that, but that's a side pleasure. But to have the
that's going to be your debut album.
The cup smaller than that.
Side pleasures with Theo
by Sade. A cup smaller than that doesn't work.
I mean, this is great for people listening on a podcast. Basically, we've got kind of
slightly
mugs. we've gone not full blown Sports Direct mug, but they're kind of halfway between that and a regular mug, I would say. And they say Friends in massive colours.
Friends are more important than
Friends. Rather garish colours, let's say.
It's not Friends like the Friends, the TV show, is it?
No, because I think whoever would have made this would have got a season.
Yeah, I was going to say, I don't know. Is that like the
no, because they write in there, so just, again, fantastic for TV, for podcast. But yeah, so it's written in white, and then it's got little coloured dots between each letter.
Oh, it's, yeah.
Which always makes you think, was this meant to be...
have any of them gone on to be famous?
Yeah, of course they have.
All of them for being on Friends?
Don't say anything. So, who's the Ricky, the dumb one?
Ricky, Joey.
Ross.
Ricky. Who's that one?
Oh, no,
Steve.
No,
Steve.
Who's
that one from Friends?
Joey is the stupid.
Yeah, I know that one now, yeah.
So Matt LeBlanc. He did Top Gear recently.
Yeah,
All those left it.
Yeah.
And who's the skinny one? The tall Ricky or
Ross.
Ross.
So he's David Schwimmer. He mostly does directing.
Nowadays.
Oh, right.
He's done a few films.
And what about the chicks? Have they gone up? What's the Greek one? Anastasia or whatever.
Jennifer Aniston.
Yeah.
Jennifer Aniston's probably had the best career.
Yeah,
of
she's
all
had.
of them,
She does a lot of sort of rom-coms.
Yeah.
She has ventured out into other things, but they've not done so well. So I think possibly.
Have you seen the footage of her in her early films?
What, like the leprechaun? Is it which one of the leprechauns is it?
When
is
she looks
it the
Greek.
first one?
Something
Leprechaun,
leprechaun.
Yeah, because her real name is Anastasakis. They even have
And
that
she
in the
looks
joke.
great. You can see the plastic surgery that she's had done, like on the nose, and that you can see.
Well, I
she's had
wonder
it.
because in the show there's a reference to her having a big nose.
Yeah.
As a child.
No,
They do
when you
flashbacks.
see it, when you see her in that leprechaun.
So, but they talk about the character that she plays.
Oh,
Rachel,
right, okay.
having a big nose. They do some flashback episodes where she's got a bip sort of.
Oh, right.
And then. Yeah, and so I was like, "Oh, is that a reference to that?"
Yeah.
And they even have the in-joke of there's a wedding. They have to steal the priest from it, and it's a Greek Orthodox,
Oh, okay.
and the wedding is so and so and Anastasakis, which
Oh,
was her real.
Oh, right. So they've
her
probably gone
non-Hollywood.
right. Let's just get on top of
So
this.
I'm sure she's allowed
yeah.
that. I'm sure she wouldn't have.
I knew it was another couple of them, weren't there?
Well, there's Courtney Cox. She's done quite well. She had the show Cougar Town, didn't she? So she had her own show.
Was it reality?
No. It's a comedy from the guy who wrote Scrubs, and then that was the follow-up.
And who's the other one?
We've got
the blonde. There's a blonde.
Lisa
chick.
Kudrow.
Yeah, that rings a
She's
bell.
got a few things. She's got web. Is it web therapy? But that's her own thing almost.
Just
but
real life.
Okay.
No, it's where she plays. It's like short things. She plays like a web therapist, and they're never in the room together. It's done as if they're on skyping in for web therapy. Okay. Apparently, it's quite.
That's
good.
cheap. That's cheap to shoot, isn't it?
Yeah,
I mean,
but I
geez,
think again,
that's easy to shoot.
But I think it was one of the things like she self-produced it and everything
Right,
else.
okay,
And gave
it was
herself
her
a
own
vehicle.
thing.
Why not? But it has since become quite a big. As far as I'm aware.
Well, so she's had to make her own work then, because traditionally when actors have to
Or
do it,
chosen to do it. Well, I don't know.
But it gives you more. It gives you more control. Yeah, I don't think none of them need to work anymore.
Right, yeah.
I think that it was self-produced.
Yeah.
I could be mistaken, but I had that in the back of my because she's done an interview on a podcast. All these people have podcasts.
Yeah.
None as good as ours, obviously. And she was talking about the show. And then the other is Matthew Perry, who's sort of.
Oh, who's he?
I think it was the expectation he would probably be the breakout.
he was
from the show.
He was Chandler. He was the funny one. Really, the crazy cool.
He was the one who was always very sarcastic. Could I be any more? And then
So what's he doing now?
Not a lot.
He does a lot of theatre, doesn't he?
Recovering from coke addiction, I think. He spent the last 20 years.
Sounds
Was it,
right.
was it coke? I thought it was painkillers, wasn't it? Or
That's a polite way of saying
okay,
it.
fine.
Allegedly. No, because he's
me
open
on.
about his coke addiction.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
that's fine. So yeah, that's on record.
So-
They earned $1 million per episode at the last 2 seasons.
Yeah.
$1
That's
million.
our
Per
producer.
episode,
Yeah.
And it's like 20 episodes per season, so 40 million.
Oh, each time it's on TV, like the half-hour thing, that's an episode.
Yeah. So per episode, so a week, I guess.
They're getting about 20 odd mil.
And then all the money that comes with it, advertising for them, the sports trainers or whatever they're doing around that.
I don't know if anyone's wearing any
Hair
Friends
products, whatever.
trainers. That would be amazing.
Lunch boxes.
Yeah. We should say that was our lovely producer chipping in there.
Oh, yeah. I did get rid of the extra mic I thought he was being abused. So I removed it.
He's providing us with...
No, not him. Well, I've just blamed the other person now.
Just blame poor
I don't want to say who it was, but yeah.
Yeah, so Kerem there, sporting a fantastic moustache, it has to be said.
Yeah. He's gone back to his roots.
He's gone back to his roots. Is that the Turkish thing then to have is that very common to have a moustache? Yeah.
Especially in these last 10 years, it's very common.
Well, it's a masculine society, isn't it? Still Turkey.
Is that because Erdogan has a moustache? Then does everyone want to be? No, I'm being serious. You know,
like Chairman Mao.
He's got a beautiful moustache.
He does have a
I mean,
glorious
say what you want about his politics,
But
but man.
romanticism in the last 10 years.
Okay. Because there's the big show, isn't there, about the Ottoman, which is a huge. It's their sort of Game of Thrones, but it's
really?
but historically based, and it's about the Ottoman. So
okay.
I don't know. I'm gonna keep asking about that TV show. I'll just Wikipedia it instead.
I saw something. You reminded me. Talking about Friends. That was a big step down for me, like negatively wise. I saw a single image that I thought every week there's something where I think I'm so angry with it all, and then something else comes along.
We're definitely back.
Which tops it, and it's like there's no. I keep trying to sort of like get my equilibrium and balance and go, okay, just accept the, and then something else.
Give
and
in to your anger.
It was actually somebody that might have been on the podcast when I was trying to branch out, like as an interview. And because of this, well, it was sort of touching over.
Oh, so I see you were thinking about having them on the podcast.
Yeah,
not
as
like
a
you
guest.
couldn't remember. You're like,
no. And
We've only done 29
they
of
were
these.
they did modelling and there's some business thing. But anyway, what they call it when you're very popular on
an influencer.
Yeah, and they describe themselves as that, which is a red flag anyway.
Yeah,
but I suppose,
I'm a wanky, trendy term. I do that for a living. Yeah,
but right, so get this model, whatever. There's a bit more to the story, but
okay,
one of the photographs, so sickening, was her.
Yes,
I think she'd had a breakup or something like that, and she's posing while crying in a photograph like that.
Yeah, that's a bit. I mean, to be fair, I did just post a picture of me, but it was laughing at myself. I was using my selfie, the selfie function on the camera.
Oh, the pen on the
nose, which I do have, and I have a weird sort of. I can't work out if it's a love
I've-
bite or as
I've-
I'm bit
I've
me in
got
my sleep.
used to the fact of a selfie now, right?
Yeah.
I'm not happy about it, but no, I mean even your one we go. There's no harm. They're just having fun.
Well, when I do my
If it's
pre-podcast,
yeah, the more serious it is, the more annoying it is. Don't take that seriously.
Oh no, I
That's
never do duck.
No, but that's
face
what I mean.
ones.
So it's not a problem. So this one was a serious photograph, but she was posing as well, and with tears on her face. I thought, like
What was? If you can remember, what was the caption on this?
like I said, it's something about a breakup. There was a few, and then
But it wasn't like, this is me looking sad, but I'm going to come back from this, blah, blah, blah. It was just, was it just like, Ludo,
I didn't read the words,
and
but
crying?
the fact you
worst
go,
day of my life, LMAO. Yeah.
I'm crying. Let me tell. I'm crying. First of all, it's not a private thing anymore. I'm crying. One, two. Let me take a picture while I'm emotional. And three, don't pose for it as well. I mean, like all three. Are you crying? Are you upset? Or are you not? I'm upset. But hold on a second. I kept the camera to show to people.
If your only outlet for communication, it could be a cry for help. She could be really
not,
heartbreak. People
just
die from heartbreak. She could be very upset.
If you're upset, that's horrendous, right? I feel really bad. Don't grab your camera.
If it's
because the
just
two
that,
don't
yeah,
mix.
I-
Are you
don't take a
upset?
picture of it,
Oh,
yeah.
do you know? Look, this has happened to me, Charles. Like, it's really. But hang on, let me get my camera while I'm doing this.
Hang on, let me check my makeup.
Yeah.
Let me check my
Because
makeup.
that's
Look
like
good, cool,
so
right, bang.
sick. You want to go? You really are demented. Like you really are.
If you're just doing it for the sake of having a posed picture that's going to get a lot of hits, then that's a bit. But I think we should say, if you do have problems, and heartbreak can be one of those things, that you should reach out, and social media.
Yeah, but the
could
two
be a
don't
thing.
mix. Taking selfies
yeah.
and crying don't mix. Which one is it? Are you doing the selfie thing or are you genuinely emotional? Because you're not both, unless you're like a baby. You're crying so somebody looks at you.
Well, it's just that flash, like, God, everything's terrible, I'm so depressed. And then there's a little thought in the back of your head that goes, I should take a fucking picture of this.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
I could
this would look great on Instagram. You're like, oh, God, no. Oh,
yeah,
no,
I think it's because it's
and
so
then-
encompassing that even it pops into your head while you're crying.
that's what I'm
This could be
saying.
beneficial
That's
to
what
me,
I'm
like
saying.
online for other people to see.
This little twitch, this reflex.
And that's
yeah?
the thing as well. It's not like it is that's purely for other people.
Could be for him or her. I don't know what her. I'm doing
sound
you
like me
now.
now.
No, but you. So in the past, we were talking about me going on dates and things, and Theo was going. Anytime I said, you would say, so what does she do? Or he? And I'm like, well, it is a girl.
Because I don't know what the rules are. I don't know if you can say that or if it's offensive.
Well, it's not offensive. If I'm a heterosexual and you say she, then that's
Yeah,
correct.
but if you're not, and then you go...
Yeah, but
why
we're
do
not
you
talking
assume it's a
about
woman?
everyone. We're not talking about all... We weren't talking, in the royal we kind of way. We were talking about me specifically. So it was... Do you know what I mean? That's not offensive. If your assumption is that everyone must be heterosexual...
Well, what was he talking about when we were shooting the other day? The LMGTB or whatever it's called.
LGBT.
LGBT, but there's
a Q sometimes.
and sometimes a plus.
Yes.
Fucking hell, there's loads of them.
Plus question mark. Yeah.
So
Yeah, but-
what's B, Q in a question mark?
So it's lesbian,
I'm joking
gay,
about
oh,
lesbian, gay, bisexual, trans. Q is queer.
Yeah.
And then I'm not sure what the
Queer?
plus is. I'm afraid.
what's queer?
So queer,
gay.
also, yeah.
But it's because people prefer different terms. In fact, before
You
we came
can't
on,
live like this. You can't do that. I'm full on for like if anyone's against you, like you do need to fight. It's something you have to fight. You're an oppressed people, black people, disabled, lesbian, gay, because they're two different things you said. But-
I is intersex, by the way.
Sorry.
I is intersex.
oh, do we miss out I?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
I is intersex.
Don't tell me.
I'll be honest. I'm not sure. I know what that is.
Intersex. Not into sex, like
No,
pervert.
INTER. I have heard the term, but I'll
Intra.
be honest. I'm
Yeah.
too ignorant to know.
Do you know what it is, Charles?
No.
Do you know what it is?
I think we need to know what this is. now,
You're
please,
Googling it.
because otherwise we just.
Googling. Right, hang on. What was your
Hold, please,
point?
people.
Why have bisexual snuck in there? That's not an oppressed people.
Because they want it. They're like, oh, can we join in? And everyone's
Yeah,
like,
they've
oh,
squeezed
Well, I think yeah, but
suppose.
surely as a
Get in then.
as a bisexual, you would be, because
No,
then
they're not an oppressed people. Nobody attacked somebody on the street. He's bisexual. She's bisexual. Lesbian, even lesbian. Come on, who's attacking women because they like other women? Men, yeah, they have been attacked. Oscar Wilde.
No, I know gay women who've been attacked,
No, okay, right. So I don't know too much about it.
and I know bisexual women
Transgender?
who've been attacked.
No.
Yeah.
Who's attacking a bisexual woman?
Because it's no bisexual men or women. Because it's the idea. Because if you might be in one
But
or the other.
everyone's been attacked.
But also,
But,
it's
I mean,
the
it's
some
not-
people. I've overheard people. They're saying, "Oh, this is not me saying it." I've overheard other people saying
Yeah.
it. They're going, "Oh, gay. Oh, that's so gross." And someone said, they replied, "Well, what about if someone's bisexual?" And they were like, "Oh no, that's even worse." And you're like, "What?" And
Why
it's
is it
as if
worse?
somehow you've got no
Messing with
self-control.
them.
Yeah, that's why, because you've got no self-control. But then also because of the stigma around homosexuality, that then you're sort of like
So-
passing it, then back
So
to.
what did you say the queer thing is?
So queer is just a different.
By the
term.
way, this isn't. I'm not offending anyone. Any questions are sort
Well,
of a
I
search
think
for
we'll-
enlightenment.
Yeah.
There's no question that's offensive.
I think you're not
questions-
trying to offend anyone. is what
No.
I mean. Yeah,
So
to say.
I want to know. So
I'm
I
fairly
don't.
sensitive.
Like when you say the bisexual thing, I was thinking, all right, maybe I don't know. Then maybe they are being attacked. So I'll
Yeah.
let that go. So the queer thing. What's queer
So
mean?
queer, I've understood that to mean it's sort of that means gay culture as much as anything.
But let's then take the G out. Then can't have both.
But I think that maybe some people prefer the term queer over gay. I've heard people
But
say,
you
"I
can't
don't
have
identify as
two."
gay. I identify as queer."
It's just straight and queer is like more of an umbrella kind of thing.
Yeah, I think queer. I've always took queer to
I
mean
would
the
say
all
just
and-
have queer and not LGTB, whatever it is.
But then
It's everyone that isn't homosexual is queer.
you mean heterosexual, homosexual?
Heterosexual is queer.
Yeah.
Why is the queer on there?
I don't know.
Is that been added on? Did you say? Or is that part of it?
I
Say it
suppose
again.
so, because it was LGBT for a while, wasn't it? And then
No, you
they
definitely
seem to
said
have
Q.
added. Yeah, they seem to have slipped in a few more letters over the years.
But the whole point is to be inclusive. So
Yeah.
if it's saying, "Well, I don't feel that I'm represented in there because I don't."
Yeah, but
I don't-
who said like we
I don't
need
know.
queer in here as well?
I
Like,
don't know.
Who's saying this thing?
Next time I'm at the grand meeting of
Exactly,
all
yeah,
the
yeah.
The carnival.
non-heterosexual people in the world, I'll ask them at the. I'll go around
the
Pride
thing is,
with a
once you-
survey. 'cause
once you
that'll,
open
that'll
the-
get everyone in the party.
The next
spirit.
Illuminati meeting, we'll go around and discuss this.
It could be like, would you describe yourself as queer?
Yeah, but I think. That
And what
I'm-
do you mean by that?
Yeah,
They're not going to come up with anything, I don't think, people.
I'm fairly certain they would, and that's probably why they've. The honest answer is I don't even know the origins of the acronym. I don't
See,
know
once
when
the
when
website is
that
in
came.
development, we can say, right, email in. So when
Yeah,
we
that would
get
be quite
sorted.
good. Yeah, or live tweet. No, don't. Don't have live Twitter because you just see
Suddenly a
the.
car comes
Oh
through.
my
The
God.
No, you just get called. I did hear actually someone. So this may very well happen to us, but someone. I can't remember who it was. It was someone on Twitter said, "What does LGBTQ stand for, or what's the origin of this? Da, da,
Yeah.
da. And lots of people were attacking them, saying, "Well, you should know why you are."
How can you attack someone for asking a question?
Exactly. That was
Yeah.
my thing. I can understand if you said, because you're not saying, "Oh, it's wrong to have these labels."
No,
You're just
I'm
not
all
sure
for
why they have them.
individualism.
But that, yeah. So then there was, of course, because it's Twitter. Then there was a counter thing going, "No, you should." What you just said. Well, if someone's asking a question, why isn't that fair? Well, they should know. They should research. It's like that's what they're doing. They're asking
exactly,
the question,
yeah.
and it was just this as Twitter, and then 5
Yeah,
minutes
up
later-
to what point was I allowed to ask the question?
Yeah, exactly. And then 10 minutes later,
People debating whether you should ask a question in the first place. That's
do-
classic internet
I
stuff.
do find it weird when people get cross. If you ask a question sincerely,
Yeah.
as you just did, as this person who name escapes me.
It's almost impossible to ask a question and not like do it offensively. Like I'm trying, like
I do
If you
find
said if it was brought up and I said, "Don't want to talk about that bollocks," or that's what. If I'm asking a question,
Yeah.
that's as I said, a search for enlightenment.
But also, as four heterosexual men, because obviously we do have our.
But do you
fabulous
know?
producer.
I mean, who
but that,
knows?
did we not just display our ignorance? But between the four of us, none of us could come up with the answer.
Is that a real thing? Intersex?
Yeah.
It's like inter or intra.
Inter.
Inter.
There might be.
So between.
Like Inter Milan.
Yeah, so it's not 100% one of them. It's just
In
like
between.
So for example, you get people who refer to themselves as non-gender
Specific.
Yeah, that's the minor speech
But
impediment.
wouldn't it be
coming through there.
bisexual intersex?
No, because bisexual is about who you want to have
Sexuality
rather than
Notions
gender.
of gender, yeah.
So bisexual is like I'm a male, I like male and female.
Yeah, so what's
Intersex is like I'm all part male, part female. I feel like
Oh, the sex of the person.
Yeah.
The gender of sex, because sex
Oh,
and
like
gender are
androgynous,
different.
that sort of.
Well, androgyny is more a look, I think, rather it's a style. A style. Is it that right?
This
An
is the
aesthetic,
problem,
isn't it?
though.
Yeah,
you always
I
have to
know.
go right. Okay, I'll accept what everyone's saying, but the door is now open for everyone. Now that's
Yeah,
the
but
problem.
don't see that as who's coming in that's gonna. What's
Because okay, well I'm whatever.
Vampires, can't invite them
Goth.
over the
I'm
threshold.
sure that was a joke in Anchorman 2 about how they thought they didn't know because it's set in the 80s or something, so they don't know the joke is, and because they're I suppose probably exaggerated versions of what we are now, going, what is this thing? What is that? And they confuse gay people with vampires. So they're saying, do you sleep in a coffin of your own sort? And this gay man is going, no, that's vampires. And they say, and you only come out at night. And he says, no, that's vampires.
And you're from Romania.
Yeah, it
Yeah,
is all,
yeah.
but it's all just, it's making fun of their ignorance, not of them.
Aren't vampires supposed to be bisexual, aren't they? They'll bite men as well as women. No, yeah, if you look
Yeah,
go
but that's
back,
not,
they would bite the man as well as
They
the
were sexually loose,
Yeah.
weren't they?
Yeah.
So they were the original
yeah.
bisexuals, I think.
But I think in sort of classic, in literature and broadly speaking, in popular culture, it's for a long, long time it was older man goes after woman in floaty dress. Isn't it? Was the
Leans back.
Because I mean, in I'm trying to think. I have read Dracula.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to remember because he kills the people. He doesn't turn. So that's the thing. Some people he turns and feeds upon. Or he feeds upon them and that turns them, and some he just wholesale slaughters and eats. So the crew of the ship all end up killed.
What is he doing? Is he trying to convert them or drink the blood? It's the blood, isn't it?
Yeah, but
But he chooses whether they want to die or...
yeah, you basically just like, so as a vampire, some people you just eat from and some people you turn.
Right, any reason why you...
Well, I don't know, you want a sexy vampire companion, don't you? Like I said, floaty dresses and everything.
What was that film? I meant to watch it where they're on a spaceship and the one of them's asleep. Is not a couple of years ago. And,
Passengers.
yeah, where he has to debate
I've
whether
not
he's going
seen
to
it.
wake her up.
Yeah, I've not seen
and
it.
keep her alive forever.
Yeah, but come on, we'd all wake up Jennifer Lawrence, wouldn't we?
Which one's Jennifer
Not if I had
Lawrence?
to talk to her for the rest of my life.
Oh, what a slap on Jennifer Lawrence. Really?
Have you seen
I
it?
find her very irritating. as a human being.
Have you seen it?
I am familiar with
Because
it.
what's the end to that then? Like, what's the ending of it?
Well, you
are we
know-
going to spoil the film?
Spoiler alert. I've always wanted to say that.
Okay,
Spoiler
fine.
alert.
Originally, apparently, it was written as a horror film.
Yeah.
And they retconned it to a
What does that
romantic
mean?
comedy. Well, it was written as a kind of a horrifying, psychological horror, because this guy does something dreadful in it. And he basically, the whole crew are in deep sleep, and he gets woken up by accident. And he can't get back into deep sleep.
Right.
Because the machine's broken. He doesn't know what to do.
So he just draws dicks on everyone while they're
So
asleep.
he's going to spend the rest of his
Sorry.
life alone,
Okay, yeah.
drifting through space.
But they must be going somewhere.
Yeah,
I
but
suppose it'll
they're going to
pass
die.
his life,
He's going to
yeah.
die. It's like they're going to get there in 80
Yeah.
years, and he's never going to reach there. So he's just going to spend the whole of his life alone.
Why is it he can't go back into his?
Because the machine broke. And,
Just the machine
because
broke.
the writer wrote the machine was broken.
Because of reasons.
Yeah.
You know, it's a film. Go,
Movie reasons.
Just go along with it.
Yeah.
I'd say. This thing cost $100 million. You know what I mean? Do him a favour. So he goes all nuts, and then he wakes up Jennifer Lawrence, and then basically ruins her entire life because she can't go back to sleep.
But what's her excuse? Why did she wake up? She say, "Why am I awake?"
He's like,
Well, the
I
machine
think
broke
he
for you
admits
as
it in
well.
the end. He goes, the machine broke. And it was
So
all
what?
great.
What's the end to that story? She must find out. She's got to find out.
Yeah, she does.
How does she? Like, he's only one of you. You just keep your mouth shut.
I think, well, as I said, this is written as romantic comedy, as these two getting to know each other in a wacky space.
I thought you said it was a horror.
It was originally
Written
written as a
as a
horror.
horror.
It's written as a
And what
horror.
is it in now?
Well, it's a rom-com.
Oh,
So the original version sounds much more
it's
interesting.
not a
'cause-
rom-com, is it? The one that's come out recently.
Yeah,
That's a bit lame.
I know, because it's a really horrifying setup.
Yeah, I was going to think, well,
Yeah, because it's really fucked up. Like,
Yeah.
it's like what? And yeah, so the original version seems very interesting. Apparently, the script's out. I think on Blacklist.
the real script.
Yeah, the original script. I think it's one of these.
rom-com. Then, well, they've got to fall in love at the end. Like that's it. They go off together.
Yeah.
She does find out that he woke her up deliberately.
Somehow,
And
they
they-
still
and
love
they
He's
each
just
get
so
over
other.
charming.
it.
He's just so charming
They
and
just
plucky.
get over it and it's fine. And then
It's Chris Pratt.
And then I think they wake up, and then all the other people get to the planet, and they wake up, and there's like loads of kids there.
Oh, they
So
sort of get there at the right
obviously-
time.
They died, and but they'd had kids.
Maybe they fix the machine and they get in it together or something.
No, I think
they're
you're trying to insert the happy ending here. He's telling you that they
they died.
Oh, that is what
That
happened.
is, I think that's
What do you mean? So everyone just wakes up?
Well, everyone gets to the planet, wakes up, and then
Well,
they
what was the
find
problem then?
they find like 3 kids there. They find like 3 20-year-olds there. And they're like, "What the fuck happened?"
But no,
and they're like, "Oh yeah, well these 2 got unfrozen and they had kids and died eventually." Of old age.
But everyone woke up. I thought they were supposed to be on this-
Later, once they arrive. So imagine. I feel like I need to get the sock puppets out. I haven't even seen this film. So they're trying to get from. Yeah, but even that.
Just cutting up. Yeah,
A
get that one. And
to B.
Mrs. Glove.
Yeah, so they're going from Earth to planet blah blah blah.
Yeah, yeah,
It's going to
yeah,
take
yeah.
80 years.
2 of them wake up.
Let's say halfway through.
Yeah.
The 2 of them wake up. That
Yeah.
means it's 40 years to thingy. By which time they'll both be dead.
Yeah, they're definitely
So-
dead by the time they get there. They're not there along.
Yeah, they're
like-
dead
Yeah.
in their thing, but their grandchildren are left alive. So all the people for the people
They
who've
have
been
kids
asleep
on the plane.
Yeah, their kids or their grandkids or whatever. Are
Yeah.
alive. So the people who've been asleep this whole time who
Yeah.
don't know about
Yeah, yeah,
this
yeah.
because they've been asleep
Wake
wake
up.
up to find
Their
what-
grandkids.
Yeah.
So they do die, the 2 of them. Yeah. Oh, that's all right then. I thought there was going to be.
That's all right then.
That's good, as long as they die. Yeah.
yeah.
No, I thought they could both get into the same capsule or something like that.
Yeah. They lived happily ever after.
It just doesn't seem like a. How would they? How does some? I've always wondered.
This is your nihilism coming in. You're like, why didn't they kill each other?
You do wonder, like, how do some things get made? You know, like, we've all done stuff within the TV or making stuff.
Yeah.
And you have to sell a story.
Yeah.
And I think when you sit in front of that person and go, right, this is what it is. You go, right, there's a spaceship and they die and then 2 of them wait. You go, what a load of shit.
Yeah, but the thing is, I don't think anyone sets it. I haven't seen it. Is it any good, in your opinion?
It's okay, I think.
That enormously long pause. That was the 80-year journey. That
Yeah,
pause.
it's one of those things. I suppose it's fine.
It's fine. I kind of feel like that's the worst thing you can say about
Yeah.
it. Because,
Well, just not.
Wasn't
yeah.
worth it.
because if you're like, well, that was a complete mess, but it was interesting, or I could see what they were trying to do and it didn't work. But
Who's the man in it?
It's Chris Pratt.
So what's his? Who do I know from that? What he does?
He's the fat guy from Parks and Recs, and then he was
Don't know
the
what that is.
thin guy from 13 Hours and
Don't know what that is.
He's in the new Jurassic Park film.
Yeah,
the
just
Guardians
Guardians
of the
of the Galaxy.
So he went from being the kind of schlubby sitcom guy to, in a very short space of time, being one of the
I will
big leading
talk
men.
about how the things get sold. I'll tell you something offensive that I saw recently.
Oh, God.
Right, you know
Can
the
we judge
American,
if it's
you know the
offensive?
American Office.
Yep.
Yeah.
The goofy guy in there.
What,
The
Rainn
tall
Wil-
guy. Which
Rainn Wilson with
I
the
don't know.
glasses.
No,
the one who's always false.
The 2 that fall in love. The tall
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Jim.
Yeah.
Jim. They're trying to make him an action hero. Have you seen the state of him? He's goofy, gangly, and I thought
Yeah,
he's
but
got
the
a
point is-
bulletproof. But I think that doesn't work.
he's-
Yeah, he was in 13 Hours, I think.
There's something he's doing now where he's an action hero.
Yeah.
Sort of silent
Yeah.
my
Yeah,
boss.
he's
goofy.
the new Jack Ryan.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
But
yeah,
Jack
yeah.
Ryan is meant to be a CIA desk guy. I think
But
he
he
serves
doesn't
in the
look-
Navy.
He's an
Yeah.
analyst,
doesn't suit the part whatsoever. Like that's the last person you might as well stick Mr. Bean in there.
Yeah, but you think like Tom Cruise started in sort of rom-coms and coming-of-age things. And
Bruce
now he's-
Willis, famously.
Yeah, Moonlighting. Yeah.
Who was I listening to? It was a podcast, and they're talking about they're on the set with what did Nicole Kidman and Tom Cruise do?
Eyes Wide Shut. Or
Oh,
Days
that
of
might have been
Thunder.
it. And they were talking about the bits where you forget, like, the different heights of these people, and they have to make amends for it.
Yeah.
And they're basically walking along. This is not a static scene. They're walking along, and they said they had a plank on the top of two like wooden blocks, and he's got to walk along that. Remember what we talked about the other day about what it must feel like when you're an actor? And what was we talking about?
That was G.
How embarrassing! The ears.
it was-
The makeup lady said, "Who was it? Had to have his back of his
James
So we,
Bond, what's his
we
name?
were doing
Daniel Craig.
Yeah, was it Daniel Craig that had
was
that?
Daniel Craig.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So we got
He's
told
got goblin ears, yeah?
if we weren't about to offend him enough.
We got an email
He
here
knows.
from Daniel Craig's lawyers.
He knows. He
So
knows.
the makeup
Yeah,
lady
that's
told
definitely-
us that because he had big ears, they had to paint black behind them so they didn't show up from the front.
Was that Daniel? Because I missed.
Well, anyway, that we were saying we were talking about it on set that it's quite embarrassing to be an actor because your dignity's already. Anyway, so what was I about to say? What was it?
It's just that moment because he's like, okay.
Oh, Tom Cruise.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they were saying he had to walk along a plank next to her as they were walking.
But
to the
she
height.
is very tall. Though,
She's like 6 foot
so,
something.
you
He's
know,
like five,
I'd
six.
have to walk on a plank. Like,
But
I'm
how
5'9".
embarrassing is that?
It's not that embarrassing.
It is. I'm mortified. It's like, what was it called? Somebody's having to go at there, Simon Cowell. They said, when you, all the pictures of him, he's got Cuban heels on, but he wears like very baggy jeans, so you can't see the heel.
I don't know. Is he
Yeah,
not very tall then?
No,
Or
I
is he
think he's
making
like 5'4", 5'5", something like that. He's quite short. But when you see him now, you see the heels, but he's got like flares over them, so you can't
We should
see
say
them.
that this filming was for some scenes for the TV show, wasn't it?
Oh,
It was
yes.
the Talking Heads. Because
Oh,
I think
yeah.
sometimes we
The
forget that
documentary that
not
we're
everyone is
filming.
following us around every moment of the.
Yeah, who
so we're
they
like,
think they are?
these amazing mugs we've got that no one can see. Oh, this
Who's these
this
blokes?
filming we
What
were
are they
doing.
talking
that
about?
No one
The
can
work.
see.
We were at
Yeah.
work the other day and we had a funny story.
Yeah, exactly. That's the new name of the podcast. You had to be there.
Do you know what time I got in that day? Right, so I had a problem getting to the set. Do you know what time I got in? So from when I left the studio, having spent all the time getting there, 11:15, I walked in the house.
He was late.
I had to go to Bedford to get the 11:15. I left the house
Well, that
before
night?
11. That night, I didn't get back into 11.
We left at like 4 before 4, didn't we?
Yeah, I fucking...
Yeah, pretty much bang on
swore.
four.
That's the first time I was banned myself from
We're
swearing.
going to get a swear jar.
Because this is the all-new Vialucci podcast.
Is it?
Well,
Are we not swearing?
I'm trying to bar myself. It's only sort of me.
Oh, you and I can curse up a police storm.
I do try.
I had
was
another
saying-
comment again the other day.
About
me
what?
Swearing.
I don't think you swear that much. Not
I've
really.
cut it out a lot.
I was talking about this with a friend like yesterday. And she was,
Theo, did I swear?
no, yeah. Why does Theo swear so much? What's wrong with his What's wrong with his brain? I mean, there's something there. I mean, I don't know what. He needs to go get a scan or something. No, but yeah, she was like, "Oh, why do guys swear?" And I was like, "I don't know." And she was like, "No, but I need an answer." And I was like,
Again, is this you having to speak for all men?
"Yeah,
everywhere?
yeah." Well, speaking on behalf of every man in all situations.
49% of
Yeah.
all the
I'll
the
call
human
them
population.
up. I'll call them. I'll say, actually, I know the one that swears. I'll call him.
I know loads of men. I'll go talk to them at the man meeting. Yeah.
It depends. Do posh people swear?
Isn't a man meeting just a rally?
Well, there's clubs. There's special clubs you go
Yeah,
to.
where they all spend all day talking about
Everyone's-
how the Last
everyone's
Jedi
dancing.
and
Everyone's dancing,
and
everyone's
Captain
very
Marvel are
friendly.
evil.
It's
Why do
great.
people swear? I think it's just they try and be like other people, don't they? If you grow up in a group of people that swear, you do it to try and
Yeah,
communication.
But I think it's often it's a stress point, isn't it? It's emphasising.
Well, this is what I don't like. Like, this is what made me years ago say I was going to stop swearing because somebody said absolutely, and it is true. When you swear, it's because you're not intelligent enough to express yourself properly. They said it's an advanced version of a child banging. They don't know what to do, so they.
I don't know,
They
I disagree
can't,
with that.
No, I think it's true because they can't express themselves, so they scream and bang. And swearing is just cutting out you explaining what you actually mean, and by just going effing this or effing that.
I said,
And it's never one thing, but I think that's part of it.
my answer to the question when my friend asked was, I said, well, I suppose people use it like punctuation.
Yeah.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And it's kind of a comma or something. You would instead of punctuation sentence, people just drop it in there.
Well, that's my problem because I've spent so long working in nightclubs. Like the other day, I was talking about when on set, I talk fast. I'm only starting to realise when I listen to it. But it's only because my whole background is screaming and arguing with people that are good at screaming and arguing with other people.
Yeah.
So I just have to batter people constantly with this and that, and it's just become that's the way. If I was talking in a highfalutin terms, it wouldn't work. That's how you sort of have to get to people.
Highfalutin
yeah, exactly.
terms,
We've had
yes,
highfalutin and ameliorate in the same. Did we have ameliorate on the podcast?
Well, it's been ameliorated.
Oh no, but I mean, as in, did you say the word ameliorate
Oh, I don't know.
before
Did
we
I?
joined?
That's not a
I
big
don't
word.
think we like-
Ameliorate.
It's not a big word.
I remember.
I don't think
when
we've
I
ever
first
used it, to be fair, like Jane.
Oh, ameliorate. I thought it was quite a normal word. When I was trying to learn to read before, no, I gave it up, and then I started again years later. But when I was trying to, with the people I was around, were literally taking the piss.
Which
And
I think is so
three
bad,
of them
yeah.
couldn't read, and one of them was a lot older. And go, look at this. Oh, he called me. So I think he called me Shakespeare. Look at this fucker. He's trying
Yeah,
to
but
learn
that's
to read.
them trying to bring you. That's trying to bring you down because they're
Yes, exactly
they're-
what it
they're
was.
bad. So
Three
if-
of them definitely
if
couldn't
he,
read.
yeah, if there's so four of you, this is
Yeah.
So they're saying, oh no, now we have to learn to. This is
Yeah.
pointing out that they're not trying.
And
to
he
do
was a
that.
good 15 years older than me as well.
Yeah,
How
exactly.
Sad's that.
Yeah, but that's but you're never too old to learn something. That's him.
And
Just,
these
him
people
deciding-
are dead inside. It's just it was the fact of the world I come from. Like if you're trying to read and they're taking the piss, like that's. But he was an armed robber. That guy.
Don't you have to read things like CCTV in operation or
Oh, this is. Well, you're going back like 20 odd years now. He was doing it.
Oh, okay.
I don't think it was good.
Don't you
ones.
have to read?
He would disappear. And
Man with sketchpad watching building in operation.
black sack or the line.
But that's what I mean. Saying
Back in the olden days, yeah.
Oh, he was a scumbag as well. He was a
could he
right
not
dirty
read?
bastard.
Did he not?
He was the one that was banging the 14-year-old. He was dating the 14-year-old.
Sorry, we need to wind this back now. When did this? I don't know when this conversation.
It's just part of where I was growing up, like the scumbags
yeah, but when
I
did
were
you?
around.
When did we get onto?
Yeah, I don't know.
recall why.
Should we just like go to better subjects?
No, I'm sorry. You can't drop that bomb.
Well,
and just, like, and be like,
I
oh.
think we're getting on shady territory here.
But no, it was more.
What's the
It was more to
question?
do with the fact that you were saying, yeah, when I was talking about that guy who was banging a 14-year-old. When were you talking about a guy? This is definitely a conversation you've been having elsewhere.
No, what was I talking about then? I was telling somebody about a girl I knew that I'd seen recently who had his name on her knuckles, and she was 14, and I'd seen her again, and I looked at her knuckles, and they're all like burn marks.
Oh, she's had them.
Yeah, it must have been years ago that she had it done, because I could see the burn marks.
Okay,
I was telling
let's
somebody
move
about
away
it.
from child
Oh,
sex abuse.
yeah, so I think it was a tattoo artist, because she was it not with you? Somebody had a tattoo,
Yeah.
and she showed us where the tattoo had been removed. Was that not something to do with you?
No.
Something I was doing.
Oh, we were talking about again going back to the filming. The pilot.
No, somebody I was with.
Adam's got loads of tattoos.
Somebody I
it
was
that?
with showed me.
Maybe did the makeup artist have a?
Where was I?
Did she forgive me, by the way, for making fun of her for being late? Yeah,
Oh, she
unintentionally,
didn't say
thinking it was
anything.
you.
I think it's a bit more classy.
Because I thought
Bring
it,
up
I thought
again.
it was you when she was coming. So basically, what happened with the filming was that this was Tuesday,
Friday.
Friday. I don't even know what day it is. Friday, and we were doing the filming for the pilot, and we'll maybe talk about that in more detail another time, I think. But yeah, because you were running late, but it didn't matter because by
Wasn't
the time
my fault.
No, but it didn't matter because we were setting up anyway.
Yeah.
So basically, as soon as you arrived, it took 5 minutes for her to powder your head, and then
throw the makeup brush at me and go, right,
he's
he's done.
You're right,
He's
done.
done.
Yeah, you're right.
But yeah, because it was the
She
door
came
going-
in just before me.
Yeah, because she was due at 1,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
she actually came on time. But I thought it was you because you were like, oh, I'm not that far off. So I did jokingly, I was saying, oh, here he comes, old Johnny come lately. And she comes in, she's like, oh, I'm so sorry, I'm so late. I was like, no, not
Can you
you.
imagine when she heard that, went, oh.
what time do you call this?
Yeah, exactly. I
no,
was like, she must have thought,
No,
what
bless her,
a...
Claire. She was very nice, very
Yeah,
polite.
very
no,
nice.
it's
Yeah,
just nice
feels
lady, yeah.
Right, yeah, let's get off these. So it always sort of slides
It's always
downhill.
you that, where was that? I was watching this film.
It was the
and then-
swearing opened the door to the devil, and then we sort of went downhill from there. Let's talk about another nice subject. Charles, what's going on? How are you? What's going on in your life? Tell me something good.
I'm fine.
What were you doing today? I heard you talking about
That was
something.
very moving, Charles. I felt that from
What
the
was
heart.
you were filming something.
Oh yeah. We were filming just like a short sketch thing for this sort of YouTube channel I'm doing work for.
And what was there was a problem? I heard you say something about sound.
Oh, I was doing sound today. I'm not a sound person, so
Because you're an assistant director by trade, is that right?
yeah. I kind of
I know-
do
I mean, I know you write it,
writer
obviously,
and
yeah, yeah.
director and sort of filling in and. Yeah, I was sort of helping out basically today.
So everything but sound, and
Yeah,
then that was the thing they asked you to do.
Anything specialised is a big no-no. You know what I mean? I think.
so what the sound you had a problem with the sound?
Yes, none of the wireless mics worked, and so we changed all the wires, changed the
Batteries.
connectors. Batteries were fine. Turns out the connector from the wireless receiver into the recorder was a bit janky, so we had to change them all.
Is that a
Technical term, I was thinking.
Kerem, we'll ask
Janky,
our producer.
yeah.
What's
Audio
janky in
term.
Turkish?
So yeah, that was fun. I don't like doing it myself because it's just stress.
But who owned the equipment?
The producer.
So surely he must have been. That was his thing to sort out. His remit.
Yes, yeah. I mean, it was working okay 2 weeks ago
Why were you getting involved in sound?
because the sound person wasn't there, so I just filled in. So.
Oh. But it's just putting the mics on, isn't it, really? You're not the technical guy.
Oh, our producer's about to walk out now. He's going to storm off. He's like, bye.
No, of course.
No, what I mean is...
there is. It's a whole art form. It really
No,
is.
I know that, but what I mean is if you just put in wireless
And they're very
mics
highly
on-
trained professionals. Well
No,
done,
but I
yeah.
mean, you weren't having to set stuff up, were you?
I was having to set up wireless and the mics.
But
and-
what's setting up wireless is plugging it in and putting the...
Yeah, making sure it's receiving and it's all the levels are right and it's actually.
Yeah, so again,
doing
that's not really your fault if it's not working.
But it's my responsibility though. Whether it's my fault or not,
But the equipment wasn't working, though.
No, well, yeah, but but it's still I'm in charge of it, so I still have to get it
Oh.
working. You know what I mean? But eventually we did, and it wasn't. It
And
was.
it went to plan.
It was okay. Yeah.
What's
It
happening
went
with
well.
your script? You said you were working on a big script the other day. You're working flat out on the script.
No, I wasn't. It's certainly not a big script. No, someone just asked me to help out with something, basically. But it's been quite time consuming in a
Yeah,
good way.
a couple of
but it's
weeks ago.
Yeah. Oh, a couple of weeks ago. Yeah, there was something that was they needed to rush out something. Basically, they needed to have something to show, and then there's been a few other things. Yeah,
Okay,
but yeah,
okay.
but it's been
What,
quite
what
fun.
was that, TV or film?
It's for. Hold on. Which one was this one? This might be. No, there was the. So it's a TV. Basically, they said write 3 episodes, and we might be able to shunt them. No, sorry, they didn't say write 3 episodes. But they said write the equivalent of what I'd like you to do is plan episode 1 as if it's episode 1, but also potentially it could be act 1 of a film. So it kind of had to be a bit cliffhangery as well. And then so that's just going on now. So
you're writing anything at the moment?
yeah, that. But now reworking that into a feature. They said let's just make it a feature,
Oh,
and
okay.
also they've changed, but some quite a lot of notes, quite a lot of changes. One thing, but kind of productive, not just like we'd like it again, but just a bit better. It's like there's some specific directives which is quite good, but still some freedom. They're not saying.
Have you written anything, Charles?
Yeah.
I don't know what your specific background is. Like, have you got any major? What's your education or extra training or whatever? To be honest, I'm just thinking I don't know anything about you.
Well, what's my education? I have a degree in philosophy and
Oh, yeah, I
politics.
think I knew that,
Yeah,
yeah.
I think I might have said.
I was in philosophy on the way up here.
Oh, yeah. No, it's it's an interesting topic. It's something I did enjoy and I did take seriously, but it's something I'm sort of more interested in now, and I find the value of it. I didn't really find the value of it necessarily in my 20s after leaving uni. and in
you've
my
got to grow
20s,
into it and your philosophy.
But may I ask why did you do it in the first place?
Why did I do a philosophy degree? Because I foolishly I started reading a lot of stuff. And I
Harry
had,
Potter and the Philosopher's Stone, and you were like,
well, no, just sort of philosophy books and things
Yeah,
about
no.
philosophy of religion and stuff. And I sort of had this this is how naive and stupid I was. I was like, there's an answer out there.
yeah,
And I want to try and not find it as in I will discover it, but I think someone else might have got close to it, and I would like to find as close as someone has got to an answer. And I suppose studying philosophy, and this is what a lot of people say, is that the more you study it, the more it deconstructs everything that you understand, everything you believe in, everything you understand, the way you view the world, the way you understand things, the way you take in sensory information, the way your brain processes that information. And you can end up becoming very nihilistic because there isn't, you get down and down and down, looking for that foundational truth, they call it. A sort of axiom that can be completely proven in and of itself, I suppose, without sort of outside corroboration. And you never find that. And,
it is. I
and
wonder
it
if-
becomes kind of...
Don't you people naturally go nihilistic because it is chaos? There is no wonderful end to it. It is that you have to accept everything is chaos.
happy Sunday,
Yeah.
everyone.
Unfortunately, unless you accept
Go that way.
an outside force.
And then what you can do is like what's it? What's the Uberman? Thus spoke Zarathustra.
Yeah, Nietzsche, yeah.
Yeah, and you go, well, what you do is you go down into the gutter of life and you realise, okay, it's all messed up. But then if you spend long enough there, you can go, right, what kind of positives can I pull from that to benefit me?
Yeah.
I thought that's what I found. But I always thought, who doesn't go into that sort of Nietzsche? Where else do you go? Because you're just lying otherwise. It is chaos. It's not wonderful and great. It is bad. You're going to die.
Well, I don't think any religion says, or any kind
well,
of
not religion,
belief
but philosophy. You have to accept that. Accept the worst first, and then pull things out of that. Because it does, with Nietzsche, or the Übermensch thing, it was just see the reality, everything the way it is.
Yes, I mean...
and control yourself. It's simple, everything. That's why I liked it.
Yeah, Nietzsche was more of a deconstruction, I suppose, of religious doctrines in the way, particularly had a big effect on how religions affect society as a whole, and politics, and sort of the social mores of a society. So, the general trends of how society operates. And he was trying to, I suppose, separate that.
Yeah.
The effectively the influence of the church.
Well, I like the fact he basically said, well, some of his stuff was take a hammer to things, basically, and if it stands up to you, then it's real, and if it doesn't, then it's bollocks.
So eggs are fake then.
Yeah, it disproved
It's all a lie.
Yeah.
Have you the what comes first, the egg or the chicken? Have you sorted this out?
Well, it depends.
I know there is an answer. I figured it out.
Well, sort of.
Go.
So the idea is that there was either, so it's evolution, isn't it? So it depends what you mean. At what point does it stop being a chicken and then become, at what point does it stop being a dinosaur and then become a chicken?
Yeah.
No.
So
what's your explanation? Is that you?
Well, that's an interesting interpretation again, because so you have the chicken, say, and the chicken evolved from like a fish or whatever, because it was this, it was a lizard. And then
There's
it was
no
a fish,
evolution involved,
and then it was a very simple, a couple of celled organism, blah blah blah, back there. And if you line up all those animals back to back, the generations stretching all the way back. Is there a separate line between the definitions of, okay, this is like fish monster, this is slightly less fish monster?
You're thinking too much. It's much more simple than that.
They
said this is what it is.
If this turns out to be a joke, I shall be very cross.
I have to be. It's not offensive, but to explain it very simply, they said it's like saying, where does a mixed-race person come from? The idea is there was two things that shouldn't have bred historically, which were sort of a bit like a chicken, which then bred together and accidentally had an egg. And that was the first chicken. It's a mixture of two other things.
I know you mean. I know your point, but the humans can,
No, but I'm saying that you need two different
and
types of people to create a mixed person. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So the idea is two animals that wouldn't have bred. I mean, you could have
that's not the same.
like a dog and a donkey.
That's not the same as mixed race. That would be the same as
No, I mean the analogy of just two different species that have to come together. You can't have that without the two before, but it didn't exist before.
Yeah, but that doesn't apply to mixed. I know what you were saying, but that doesn't apply to mixed race because they're both humans breeding.
Yeah,
so you're talking like a brown horse and a white horse. Yeah. So, but a horse and a donkey makes
anything that's just different colours, even. Yeah.
Yep.
So you need two things that are different, which then bred, which hadn't done before, which then gave birth to the first chicken.
A genetic variation.
Yeah. So there you go.
Yeah.
Anything else you want to talk about?
I don't know. Let's
That's
see.
evolution check. Right, done that.
I've got a fight.
I feel like there's one. Like, who have we offended? We've offended.
There's no offence there.
Haven't offended enough people. We need to step the game up, man.
Madness. Like, you can't say stuff. Like, nothing I've said is even remotely offensive. Not at all. Unless you're an Fendi.
Yeah. Well, actually, I was born in an egg, I'll have you know, sir.
Yeah, you're eggist.
Yeah, eggist.
My father was born in an egg and his father was born in an egg. We are egg people.
I remember getting a pack of eggs, and each one of them had 2 yolks in them. And the odds were supposed to be like ridiculous. Even if you get
was there a golden ticket in there? That must have been like.
Honest to God, I thought, oh look, there's one of those things you hear about with 2 eggs in it, and then I got a second one, and I was like googling the odds of that. The whole pack had 2 in them.
They were like, you know what there was? Someone was doing at the egg. I was about to say eggplant. That's a vegetable. At the
egg factory,
egg farm. Yeah, factory. Yeah, unfortunately, factory is probably more accurate. But there with the X-ray machine, checking there's no fetus in there or something like that, and they were like, "That's a 2. I'm going to put that." They filled up all dozen. They were like, "This is going to blow someone in mind."
But the odds were sort of like ridiculous that you should have had.
But
that
that's
many.
it. But the thing about odds is there's only
That's
one.
what I was
odd,
saying
and
to somebody a
that's
while ago.
50-50.
When
Either
you
it
try-
does happen or it doesn't.
When you try to
The
explain
odds,
things
really.
to people, you have to go, do you understand that absolute ridiculous stuff is the norm? Like really, really, really odd stuff happening is normal.
My dad had a fetus in an egg once crack. Like this is a long time ago before they started X-raying eggs. So he cracked an egg and a fetus.
Oh my god,
That
And
would that'd be one of those things.
It was
where,
a long time before he ate eggs.
that's like a horror movie, man.
Yeah.
That is just.
I mean,
oh
it was
my
obviously
God.
it was, wasn't squirming.
that
around
would
or
stay
anything,
with it.
but-
That would be like that.
Yeah, he didn't. It took years for him to. And he doesn't. He only does eggs. Where you break them, so he doesn't do sunny side up as they. Is that right? In America, they call it sunny side up, isn't it? Where it's got the
right,
yolk,
the yolk
to
up.
break.
We're talking about like dead fetuses. Can we change the subject again?
Well, what do you?
Anything-
I mean, a
what
chicken egg is that's the eggs period.
Oh, you're taking it down a step further. Go on, carry on.
No, there's nothing wrong with periods.
But
Half the people on the
dead
planet have a period
chickens-
at some point in their lives.
I remember there was a
for a while.
Yeah, I mean, but also I'm aware. I'm sure there's probably medical conditions that people don't. So, but you know what I mean.
I keep thinking about the future. Like I don't exist in the present. Everything with me is either in the past or way in the future. I mean, literally, I think I've broken my brain, and I always think from the future.
We can all agree that.
I can't
We can
exist
all agree
now.
that.
I can't. It's so weird because I messed myself up because what has happened is, and it's all accidental, because I wasn't really experiencing anything of life for the first sort of 25 years.
I think you were experiencing a lot of things of life, but maybe not necessarily.
No, but I
things
wasn't
that were-
taking interest. It was just getting through the day.
Oh, I see what
I'm
you
not
mean. I
using
beg
that as
your
an
pardon, yeah.
exaggeration.
You were
of the
living
year.
day to day, hand
I
to
mean,
mouth.
the day. Like I wasn't thinking past an hour. It's just what
Yeah,
meal
yeah.
am I getting that day?
Yeah, yeah.
And then because that kept carrying on, and then when I got to sort of 25, 30, I started getting a job, and then what happened is I was hanging around with older people. So anything I knew about like movies or anything, they were obviously telling me about old stuff. They weren't telling me about Cameron Diaz. So then
then to try and impress people, you'd be like, "Have you heard of this brand new film called Casablanca?"
Yeah, Brief Encounter.
What about that Titanic? That's a pretty nice
genuinely.
invention.
So I was seeing people saying to me, "What's a Godfather? What's a thing? What's
Yeah,
a that?" So but then I liked all that sort of stuff, like black and white films. They were the first films I liked. Working in the nightclub industry, like near to 30. So then when I sort of started to think, right, I've got to start getting a life because I'm not dead, and I thought I'd be dead by now, and started to go, right, who's who, and I've got to learn to read and all that. Oh, everything I'd learned was sort of like very deep from films, and everything just seemed really cheesy and shitty. Like the music, everyone seemed, and plus the first people I learned from were personal development, were people in history, because there was nobody around now to learn from. Everyone just seemed like con man. So it was the Malcolm X, like Oscar Wilde, and all those sort of people, all the philosophers, Spinoza, and all that. So my first sort of imprints of life were from everyone before, but then I couldn't get on with people now because everyone seemed like there's nothing. This is like shit. I mean, like a boring computer game. It's nothing's interesting having. Nobody's got any substance to them. But then because what I was trying to do was I learnt from people from history. So me and everything that I was doing with the magazine, all the reason I was doing it and doing it without any money and all that, is because I wanted to leave something behind. So it might not even happen while I'm alive.
Is it not Pericles who said that what you leave behind is not in monuments and things like that, but your impact on other people? I completely fudged the quote there because I remember.
No,
the
but I know what you meant.
I remember the substance.
No, but the
I get
idea
the
is like
point,
even if it doesn't happen while I'm alive, there'll be a story. Like the story hasn't really come out of why I stayed. I went into the gut back that I just got out of to do everything, so I could do a story that nobody else could say.
It should be noted that Pericles oversaw the absolute fall of his city, so maybe let's not cite him as like, hey, he's someone. It's like, yeah, no wonder you weren't bothered about leaving my monuments, mate. 'cause
But so my thing
Anyway,
was,
sorry.
Yeah, don't worry about
it's
them, it's
leaving
fine.
a message back. So do something important. Be willing to sacrifice your life. Be willing to die. Like give it all up. Don't worry about you. Just whatever story you leave behind. So now is nothing. Like I'm not. I'm in the past and in the future looking back. So it's not. And not because I don't. It's because I think we genuinely. If I think, like I keep saying to somebody, I'd be better enough in the 70s when people were fighting against something. Now it's just like you're on your fucking own.
You're going full Fight Club here.
No, but
when
it's-
he's our Great Depression is our lives.
No, but I'm genuinely. If I'm genuinely giving up my life to do something, then I've got a big story about how it happened and why I stayed where I was doing all these things and why I did it all that long way around. It wasn't the wave, but you've got nobody to admire at the time. I have to.
But I
Look
think
at
that, yeah,
specific people.
you didn't have role models. You didn't have
But
someone
the
to tell
role
you.
models were old.
But that's what I mean. But you weren't as a child. You didn't.
No,
have
so that's
role
what I'm saying.
models.
So my role models were the Harvey Milk and the Oscar Wilde and some philosophers and
Yeah,
Malcolm
but how
X.
old were you when they became your role models? Is what I mean.
Well, they were first imprints of people, which was near 30 years old.
So that's what I'm saying. So you've had to look for substitutes.
Yeah. So the problem is
Because our first moral compass is often our parents.
yeah, of course.
isn't it?
But
Or
so that's my problem.
teachers
Is
or-
my
Yeah.
first people I learnt from were way up here. So with my line of what is to be a human being is up there, and I hear people moaning about life. You go, have you looked at what people do?
Well, also, sometimes you switch on the news and you go, actually, as much as whatever in my life is bad.
But that's
this
why I
is-
become distant, because everything I was looking around and going, oh, sorry. I was like, there's
we want to
nothing
hear the
to...
rat. We want to hear the
We
ranting.
want to hear your hot breath against the mic.
But anyway, yeah, so I don't know what we're talking about. But basically, yeah, so I became sort of out of loop. Like I didn't exist now. I'm just existing either back in looking at the stuff and that's the people you admire, or think, right, what I'm doing now is I'm going to leave a story behind in the
posterity.
future.
I have to say that's a really interesting idea, actually. The fact that that people don't really engage with fully or respect the present, the moment they're in now. They're either thinking about the past or they're looking to what they're going to do. And that's
sort of what
actually-
mindfulness is about.
Yeah,
isn't it? It's
yeah.
about
I don't
bringing
like
you
all
back
that
to. You don't like
bollocks.
mindfulness.
No, I don't like mindfulness. I don't like being in the moment. Anything that says I'm doing something half-assed. Because listen, you've got to achieve things. Mindfulness is for people that are sort of divorced in their 40s and they want to pretend they're philosophical or spiritual.
bracelet guys, yeah.
Yeah,
in their
you
40s,
don't. You've got to challenge yourself. You can't do things. I saw a woman once, right?
I was thinking leather bracelets. That's a very lovely silver.
I saw a
one.
woman once going into a posh gym, and I was stood at the
Yeah.
counter, and she had a yoga thing underneath her, and she come running in. The barrier didn't open, and she went, "Excuse me," to the woman, and she went, "Have you got your card?" And she went, "I'm here all the time." And she went, "But I need to see it." And she went, "Oh, for God's sake!" And she pulled it out, put it in, and then ran through. And I thought, you are a. You're
Which
a
one? I was
stupid.
trying to work out which word you were going to go for.
I think
there.
it was dick.
I was going to go dumb bitch.
Oh, okay.
I didn't.
I can
But
see a
I
D
was-
It looked like you were forming a D.
But
I was
this is
like,
my
yeah,
problem,
yeah.
not
right?
a C at least.
It's, well, I'm just going to run in and do my yoga. Like, you can't just do yoga. It's a philosophical state of mind. But you're so dumb, you're going to be rude to somebody running late into a class of yoga. You've wasted, just go home. But that's sort of
But then think
indicative.
that's why, because then she'll come out of the yoga and she'll be zen. And
No, she
floating
won't.
on
It's a stupid person.
Did you wait?
It's like people that go
I
to
checked.
the,
He checked.
It's people that go to the gym anyway and piss about. Why are you wasting your time here? You're just getting in the way of everyone else. that wants to do
define
it.
pissing about at the gym.
Well, you've just watched YouTube videos and come in and you don't realise that the exercises they're showing you aren't what they do for real. They just do that because they can lift more weight and then you come in watching the videos and start doing it, and you're a young kid or you're drinking the protein shakes when you haven't worked out, but they do it. So an Olympian does it. So it's just dumb. So I don't go to the gym that often. I get people asking me to train them all the time, and I used to, and I stopped doing it because people don't take it seriously. Yesterday I was in the gym and I was trying to explain to somebody, and he's doing his bench press. And I try to not, because I think everyone in this is doing everything wrong, and it's all long-winded because you're just watching videos. You're not interested. The personal fitness instructors, forget it. They're just slim people with fast metabolisms, and they're young. They haven't struggled with anything.
Good genes,
They haven't,
yeah.
they haven't overcome anything. They know nothing about what you do and your brain and how your mindset is and what.
See, my trainers are like the gym I go to. I'm not going to give. Maybe I'll give them a plug. No, I won't. Yeah, I'll give them a plug.
Don't tell them
Fuck
where
it.
you are. Don't
Nine
tell
round.
them
No,
exactly.
they know I do the podcast 9 round, but that comes with trainers, and they do help you round and everything. So I would say they're not all, but that's not
No,
a
of course not.
weightlifting gym.
The only personal trainers that are offended by like saying I'm a personal trainer because it's not that. Like I said, I used to train people, but I gave it because I don't want to feel pain. If you're not go in the gym and say how many people here are sweating. I'm not talking about on the running machines because even that they don't know. They're ruining their bodies just by being on a running machine. They don't even know.
Oh no, my trainers will kick your butt around the circuit because it's circuit
it's
training,
got
so they will
the
kick your ass
pain
around.
is
Yeah,
where
yeah.
you achieve things. If you just and anyway, so a guy was in there the other day and he's doing his bench press and he went, "Oh mate," he said, "You know, you're not a big guy, but you're quite strong. How come you're lifting all that weight?" And I'd sort of have that thing of like, right, show me what you're doing. And he's showing me his bench press. I said, right, how long have you been doing this for? About 4 or 5 years. I said, do it again. And I was pushing his chest. I said, your chest isn't even tensed. Your arms are too high up. You're working your shoulders because your body wants to go to the easiest place possible. And sometimes your natural state isn't where you want to be. You want to be doing it easy because then you can boost your whole body. You don't want to go,
Yeah.
that hurts
It's
my
that thing
muscle.
of like, you'll be doing it and going, that's quite easy, that exercise. And
Yeah,
the trainer
'cause you're
comes
pushing-
and goes,
Yeah.
now do it. And
And
you're
I
like,
said to
oh
him,
no, this is
and that was
difficult
just
now.
one thing. And I could have walked around the gym and told people. The
Yeah.
last time I said somebody, he looked like a nice guy. He was a Spanish guy, and he was doing his reverse things on the machine. And I went, mate, can I stop you? I said, move your arms
Were you
down.
working at this gym or were you
No, I
just
wasn't.
going round?
This was late at night.
You're that person.
Just going around telling people, like,
No.
you're doing this all wrong.
Everyone loves you.
That's I think outside of spirituality, the training in the gym is the thing where everyone's got it wrong, and it's so,
Everyone.
mate, it's so bad that you don't realise how bad the problem is.
Oh, I don't know. I don't go to those kind of gyms. I don't go to like a weight.
I'm not talking about, no, it's not about powerlifting. I'm just talking about, when the running thing, for instance, you go and look, you see somebody running in their 60s, 70s, and all the muscle tone's going, and they wonder why their skin's saggy. Because you've burnt all the muscle off. Like, you think there's cardiovascular fit,
Yeah.
and then there's healthy, fit, and strong outside. There's a mix of the two, which is like CrossFit. But I see people running on running machines on the arena every morning, running, they just look miserable, the skin's hanging off them, and you're going to go,
Well,
you know,
because
this
you
is
need to do
bad for
weights,
your
don't for
body.
your bones, don't you?
Yeah, but they don't want to because they're risk averse, so they just want to do something that everyone and think healthy fit. It doesn't
I
mean
just think running machines are so
when
boring.
you're old, you've got to do the muscle tone. You
Yeah.
can't be running and running because the muscle's been worn away. Like I said to somebody a while ago, that thing of being old doesn't exist really anymore. It was just the way things were when people didn't exercise. So you can see a 70-year-old on Santa Monica.
I do think it's
he's near dying. He's going to be dead in a few years, but he looks like a 30-year-old. But it's so bad, the problem, which it's like a struggle for me that I feel bad just watching people do things that are they're not doing it correctly. Like, sometimes they're just hurting themselves, and it's a stress because I've just let go of it years ago. I can't get involved.
Well, what do these gyms not have personal training? Is that
They're useless. Listen, I must have trained
Except
at
in 9
20
round.
different gyms. Been
Yeah.
kicked out of a few. I've been back to a gym recently
Yeah.
that I haven't been to for years.
Yeah.
And the personal trainers look worse than they did when I was there. Just blokes, nothing.
Just like-
and you live here, you live in this gym, and you look like shit.
Just blokes down the pub kind of thing, just like fat, fit guys.
You wouldn't. But go back years later, and they look worse than they did before.
Yeah, of course,
And I
time,
want to
yeah.
say, how dare you take? Because this is my thing. It's not a little thing. A personal fitness instructor. That's not a little thing.
No.
It's not this thing. Oh, he's a personal fit. And what has happened is they have to get these rep certificates, which I wouldn't wipe my arse on a rep certificate. This 2-week course taught by somebody that knows nothing,
Yeah.
but he was taught by a council official who was once did fitness and he knew nothing, but he was. So what they don't want you to do is come in and make somebody feel pain and get better. Because my bar is like, if you're a Hollywood personal trainer, you can't fuck around. You can't go, so we're going to spend 2 weeks jumping up and down doing jumping.
Yeah,
you
'cause
need
it's like this
results,
person
there's
needs
money.
to be in their best shape they've ever been,
But
or more.
you go to
because
another one, they don't know.
£100 million film is
When they're a
down now.
kid, they're 25, the metabolism's fast, they've learnt nothing, they've achieved nothing, they watch YouTube videos and they do a 2-week course. They know nothing, and that's your health you're worried.
Yeah, see, this is the thing that's reassuring about the one I go to is that the trainers, I see the trainers, they come and work out there. I mean, they go to other gyms to do other things because it's not like, for example, it's not a weight thing.
You
But
should
they-
look at your personal trainer and go, I'm going to look like that.
Yeah,
that's
and that's
it,
what I
nothing
do.
else.
Yeah, that's why. I mean, most of them are women, so I don't necessarily want to look like them. But yeah,
But it's
Actually,
like,
most of them, I'm going to say
it's like
you
everything.
two chat amongst yourself. I'm going to do countdowns.
Well, it's like a hairdresser or whatever. You don't want to go to a hairdresser who's got shit haircut.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
it's like
Yeah.
the bar of everything goes so low everywhere that when you look at that and you go, well, they're responsible for a person's life now, really. That's not something you go, let it go. You go, why are they? And then it's happening everywhere. So I said that rep certificate. This needs to be some sort of qualification where you need to have
But
won a competition.
there are personal trainer Is that am I
Reps is the thing you need to work in the gym. Or EPS, which
Okay.
is bollocks. Like I said, you can wipe your arse on it. It's ridiculous. I'd be embarrassed to say I had one of
But
those.
when you, because I assume you'd have to know. I should probably ask my trainers, but okay. But do you?
You
not-
could walk in now and they'll show you how to do that, and then how to write out a form and how
Yeah.
to do the things, and then you go and do it. And then you think, he's a professional. No, that's a kid. Don't do nothing. And like I said, I moved around a few gyms, and I've been to a lot of gyms, and I can, in 20 years, I'm telling you, 5 personal trainers that I thought were adequate. Out of all of them, different gyms.
I was
different
about to say,
levels,
usually,
20
like-
quid to £120 gyms.
Yeah.
The level of what it is. I'm going to say, have you won anything? Have you won any competition? No. What have you? Well, I've got my rep certificate. You know nothing. You don't know anything about yourself even, and you're teaching a 45-year-old woman about exercise because the chart says this is what you do. And if it wasn't about people spending their money to get better. They're not doing
Yeah.
it for fun. They've come to you to help. You're sort of abusing them. So the system.
No, I don't. Yeah, that. I mean, again, I don't want to keep throwing it back, but the one I go to, Night Round, it does. You see the trainers doing it. They're all in really good shape.
Yeah.
They've all done lots of different things.
Yeah, and like I said, they'll probably know exactly what I'm talking about when I'm saying this.
Yeah, I'm sure they must go to other. If they do go to other gyms, they must.
There was
just
one
think,
gym I
you
went
know.
to in a big chain gym, and it's about 8 months ago. And a woman come in, and literally the t-shirt didn't go over her belly, and she was the trainer. Do you know how offensive that? Like, I want to say,
But was she kind of? I know I always play devil's advocate, but was she just really muscular?
no. It was fat over the sides, and the t-shirt didn't cover the belly. And that's like almost like I said, it's cartoonish, where it's like, what bar where does it have to go before someone go? Well, I don't.
But
want
was
that
she
person training me.
fit? I keep hearing that fat and fit is a myth, but I don't know if it is or isn't a myth or not.
No, I don't know what you're talking about.
Fat and fit is a myth.
It is a myth.
Yeah.
Please elaborate.
No, as in I'd heard that because I'd heard people say, "Oh, there's that thing of being fat and fit."
No, I mean you can have good.
being sort of big but yes,
There are
Yeah.
fighters that are like you just get born with like
Well, because
good
it's like the
lungs
world,
and
but it's also
things.
the world's strongest men, isn't it? They're
Yeah.
not. They're not.
Yeah,
Slim,
they're not
ripped
designed.
guys.
I
aren't they?
knew. I used to work.
that blows my mind when you see like world's strongest man or whatever, and it's just literally some fat dude in the pub and like just coming out lifting like a beer can, chucking over his head. He's like sort of 30 stone and like so out of shape.
Oh, do you remember
But that's
Giant?
so-
Not
it's
Giant.
mental.
What was the British?
John Haystacks, yeah.
No. I'm thinking. Yeah,
There's Big Daddy.
No, not the wrestler. The famous power man, the strongman competition. Jeff Capes.
Oh, Jeff Capes.
Remember
yeah.
Jeff Capes? He was a good guy.
Because wasn't
Tearing the phone
wasn't
book.
David
Yeah.
Prowse a world's strongest man or Britain's Darth Vader? David Prowse wasn't he? He was
Who?
he's the guy inside the Darth Vader costume.
Oh,
Did
yeah.
you ever get as far as Star Wars in terms
No, I
of
never
your
watched
film?
it.
No, but you know who Darth Vader is.
Yeah,
the guy in the guy in the black
That
armor.
was the black fella, wasn't it?
He's the voice. James
He's
L.
the
Jones'
voice.
voice. Yeah.
But he wasn't in it.
No.
Oh,
He was in.
right.
They got this very tall guy. He's like 6'8" or something, wasn't
Yeah,
he?
very
6'8".
tall,
And he had a very thick West Country accent.
Oh, really?
And they recorded, and it's wonderful because they recorded all the dialogue for it, and didn't tell him they were going to dub it over with James L. Jones.
Oh,
and he's
really?
like,
But he must
We
have
must-
known.
there are some clips with the original dialogue, and he goes, "We must find the plans to the Death Star. Tear this ship apart. I must find Princess Leia." And there are a couple of clips, and they are absolutely wonderful.
God, love him, though. And he was the Green Cross Code.
And he's Green Cross Code man,
I find
yeah,
that
it's
just
great.
So it's just because he was tall. That's all it is.
yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
Is Darth Vader that tall? I didn't think he was that tall in it. It wasn't a thing.
Yeah, it was always meant. He's imposing, isn't he?
Yeah, he's a big guy. Big guy.
7 feet tall.
7 feet tall.
Should be, but I don't know.
Oh, I thought he was smaller
Yeah.
than that.
1 hour mark.
What time is it now?
We hit the 1 hour mark.
What time is it? 7.
It's 7:18.
Oh,
Talk
well,
amongst yourselves
well,
while we get alive. If you're listening.
And the time is.
Yeah, let's end on a good subject. What is there? Anything you'd like to bring?
We're just talking about Star Wars. It's the best
Yeah,
subject.
no.
I've got like reference points. I know what the difference is between Star Wars and Star.
My former housemate, my housemate has a
Do
Star
I?
Wars podcast. I should ask her what it's called, actually.
I'd
Star
like.
Wars
former
podcast.
house. Yeah,
I'm
she's
trying
got
to get
yeah.
somebody on about comic books who knows about comic books because I thought that's something that.
I
oh,
think
really?
Charles
Really?
is indicating
A little bit, yeah.
Oh no! See, I need
What
somebody that's like an
comic do you?
auteur.
Well, I regularly. I mean, I've got
Because
4 titles that I buy every week now. So,
What are they? What are they?
what is it? It's the New Avengers
Avengers.
line, Uncanny X-Men,
Uncanny X-Men.
yeah, True Believers, which is a reprint line. I'm getting a hardback 2000 AD thing, and I've been getting that for a few
What's
months.
Uncanny X-Men mean?
So it's the X-Men.
The X-Men. It's the main X-Men.
What do you mean
title.
uncanny?
They've all got stupid names like the Amazing Spider-Man, the Incredible Hulk.
Oh, I thought you meant like they were queer or something.
No, Uncanny X-Men. They have a weird adjective in front of them, basically, and all of them do this.
Uncanny.
But the
doesn't-
uncanny. The X-Men that has more so in the films, hasn't it? Has been the idea of them being mutants has been a sort of metaphor for homosexuality
And
More so in
the civil
films,
rights
yeah.
movement, LGBT stuff.
More so in the films,
Yeah,
isn't it?
yeah.
I think that.
Well, later in the comics,
Yeah,
it
yeah.
became a thing like definitely in the 70s and 80s, and they even had like a virus that was killing mutants and
Oh,
stuff. So they had like
really?
mutant AIDS and stuff. And I remember reading that when I was like 10 or 11. I was like, wow, this is really interesting. This is like AIDS. You know what I mean? I remember
Well, it was
like,
fascinating
thinking that.
when I started learning about stuff, like in my 30s, early 30s, I started making the rounds. And one of the things I watched was the original Star Trek what do they call it? Star Trek TSO.
Yeah, the original
the original
series,
series,
TOS, yeah.
And it was amazing to watch it as an adult going, oh, they're talking about black people there. Oh, they're talking about this. Oh, they're
Yeah.
talking about politics. Oh, the class system. You go,
Yeah.
but it's so obvious. You go, surely they didn't know. They
But
mustn't
you got to,
realise.
yeah, but you know, this is at a time where
The 60s, yeah, it was,
but
yeah.
you know, Uhura, there are parts of the country she probably wouldn't. Nichelle Nichols probably wouldn't be welcome.
But it's funny
More
because
than-
I
more than
used
a
to
few,
agree with
unfortunately.
Spock. Like I was watching it thinking I've got to catch up with the world.
Yeah.
Watching it going, oh, there's quite very deep.
And
Like,
it was a
the
big
things
deal
he's saying.
but there was a big deal that her and Kirk had a kiss.
The
It's
first
not.
kiss.
It's not. No, it's not. That's the
not the
famous.
first
It's not.
interracial,
But
no?
it's because it was such a big show.
Oh, it made it right.
yeah. But that made it. You know.
I remember Spock doing the one thing. I can't remember the words of it. I'd actually go back and watch it.
was
Like,
it the
I
live
remember-
long and prosper?
No, it was. He was saying because he's always talking about human beings. Because honest to God, I do look at people like
You know,
an experiment.
that woman charging through to get to her yoga class is not logical.
Yeah.
Is that it?
Yeah, it's sort of.
Highly,
yeah.
highly illogical.
But I think because I've been out the loop, so I sort of look at people. But anyway, he said he was talking about there was some sort of crime, and he couldn't He said, "Isn't it?" Well, however he spoke, but he said, "Isn't it funny how you don't punish people that no, you punish people doing small crimes." But the people that affect millions of people, you let them go or something like that. And I thought, oh, fucking hell, that's right. Like, the higher up you might affect,
Yeah.
like, the housing crisis, millions of people affected people. But you get less than the guy that's just robbed somebody. Do you know what I mean?
Or
It's
you,
like
get, you get a
madness.
knighthood. I mean, genuinely,
Yeah.
you tank the economy
But I
and
thought,
like
he
and
kept
make
saying
a
things,
billion
like-
out of shares. They'll give you a knighthood for that. But yeah, you rob someone for 50 quid.
That's
you
because
get
you're a
prison.
wealth creator.
I was listening to the thing on the podcast last night, and it was the guy who co-founded Facebook. Who's the guy? But he left.
What?
Oh, shit, I should remember his name. Not some.
The Napster guy or the one who there
was a court
according
case.
to the film, yeah, got
Yeah, so- and he-
Is
Oh, it might be. Yes,
it Savini or something like that?
Anyway.
Could our top producer find out for us, please?
Fact check.
you
But
very
he
much.
was basically saying because he's he's trying to get the.
Sean Parker?
What is it?
He's the Napster guy. He was the.
I don't know, I connected with him on LinkedIn. But anyway,
All right,
so
look at that LinkedIn name dropping there.
Just yeah.
no, but listen, because what he's saying is he's very sensible, like considering what's happened, and he says like I did 3 years and I got $500 million, and now he's trying to get the government to put in a basic wage for people like $500.
So was it
per-
Sean Parker or is it the founder who was?
Eduardo Severin, Chris Hughes, Dustin Moskowitz, Andrew McCollum.
No, it was an English name. He's an American.
Sean Parker then?
It might be Sean Parker.
Yeah, because he started Napster first, didn't he? Is that right? I thought he started with
can't
Oh,
Napster.
I don't think it was him. But anyway, so he's doing the rounds basically writing about the equality and like it's ridiculous because his parents grew up and even though they didn't have a lot of money, they were very charity based. So it's ingrained in him. So he's doing a lot of things to the government. He's doing a lot of things with algorithms of money and how much do we need. And it's not organizations we need. You need to literally just give people an amount where they can think straight for the, like, if I think he used the term $500 to everybody just so that it will take the edge off of depressions and things like that long term if we just make sure people aren't struggling and spinning plates all over the place. But yeah, I just thought it was really interesting. But he said, yeah, it's ridiculous. He said, I did 3 years work and I got 500 million. He said, this doesn't make any sense. Like, it's all broken. And he was talking about the silicon industry and the people are aiming to just become billionaires and doesn't matter how, I just want the billionaire status and how it's creating psychoses within society.
Now, I read this, and it's an old statistic, but I think it was last year, there were only 2,000 billionaires. I think that's in the world.
Yeah, well, he said he's a 0.0 of point. He said the 1%, and he's the 0.0 of the 1%.
Yeah.
So that
Yeah.
hundreds of millions.
But genuinely, I mean, all this talk of billionaires and extreme wealth and all these,
Isn't it
this
what's
elite
between
class people, there's only, we're talking about a very, very small number of people. Like,
And then
really.
it's, have you got a billion, or is your company worth $1 billion? Then it changes because you
Yeah,
might
because
have
there's
a billion
often
in
the difference
properties
between
and
how
things.
much you've got in the bank
Yeah,
and how
that's
much
where-
you have
yeah.
worth, because your worth can change overnight if the shares plummet.
And that's very true. That's very true. That's a very middle class thing as well. Because you can be like, well, I am kind of middle class and like well off, but like, I don't have any cash. You know what I mean? I've got like a house and a car and a job and a
Yeah,
thing.
or
and you think,
it's or Lord blah blah blah, and he lives in the basement of his mansion that's
Yeah.
now owned by the National Trust, and he, everyone,
and the lights don't work.
can't afford
properly,
his heat.
yeah, exactly,
Yeah,
You
yeah.
have to flog off, load of land here and there, and so you're Lord Fauntleroy of whatever, and you're invited to the, the Queen's birthday and all of that gubbins, but then you go home and you sit in the loft and,
Eat your
because
cheese sandwich.
because the heat rises, so hopefully,
Fix your socks. Yeah.
Darn the socks. Yeah.
I mean, I'd still rather be that than, on the street or whatever.
What was it? There was a rock star. I can't remember his name, and he's saying, he said, "Yeah, it's it's not good being poor and all that." He said, "It doesn't make you rich being happy being rich." He said, "But I'd sooner be depressed in the back of a Rolls Royce than in a council flat."
Yeah.
Takes an edge off a few things.
Precisely, money doesn't make you happy necessarily, but it certainly
helps you
helps.
be
It
less
certainly
happy,
helps.
yeah.
I think
doesn't it?
it can help you. It's a distraction and can help you buy the distractions. It's not going to cure you of. You'll be able to pay for much better.
No, it doesn't
private
create
therapy.
happiness, but it
No.
can alleviate pain. That's the thing.
I suppose it doesn't change you and
No,
the problems
no.
that you have. So you
Yeah.
yourself are the same person, but you just have more options,
Yeah.
I'd say.
I was saying to somebody the other day about somebody else I knew, and she was talking about she got a new car and whatever. Somebody I knew through her work, and I said, "Have you got used to it now?" She said, "Yes." I said, "When you was cleaning it every week," I said, "Told you he's going to get used to it." She said, "I said to a friend of mine, he said he's got a Porsche." And he said, within about a year, there's always Coke cans and McDonald's in the passenger seat. You give up. So even though whatever your problems are, it will get rid of them for a while, but then the house becomes normal, the car becomes normal, and then you go, oh, those fucking problems come flooding back in again.
Yeah, exactly. I don't think you're.
Oh, I knew a guy, and I worked for this bloke, and him and his mate sold an internet.
This is always one of those ones. It's like Theo's got a story here. It's either going to end
It's
up
a
really
bad
big
story,
or...
but I'm taking good bits out of it.
Okay, fine.
So him and his three mates in the 80s floated the first. Not dial-up. Is that a thing?
Yeah, maybe.
There's some dial-up technology that they created it, and three of them they sold it and floated the company for 700 million in the 80s. So he's worth a good 300 million himself. And he was talking about like having money here, and he was saying he had a Lamborghini. He said, but you can't drive it here because you can't get over speed humps, and because they're not designed with sort of like millimeters. You can get over some, and you can't get over others. So you have to basically stop, go over them, and then you don't know if you're going to get to the next one. And he said, you don't need the fucking stress. He said, but his mate...
Damn me and my
That's a first world problem,
Yeah.
if ever I had it.
Well, he said the new one.
My Lamborghini won't get over the speed bumps.
Well, he literally said, where I am, I've moved because I couldn't go over the speed bumps to get into the apartment block.
Get a different car.
But anyway, so he had two Range Rovers.
Move.
He had two Range Rovers, and they were virtually identical. It was ridiculous. But anyway, he said he was talking about his friend. He said, "Yeah, you can't have those sort of things in these countries. It's not designed for that." And he said, "Plus, you don't really want a car in this country that you're scared to break down in and leave it because people here will key it."
Yeah.
He said, "In America, people will admire it and things like that." And he said, "There was one guy in North London. He had a Ferrari, and it was a convertible one. It was an older one." And he said he went into a cafe and the roof was down. He said he came back and somebody thrown a milkshake in the back. And he go, where the fuck? Who does that? He said, when you're poor, you're a stressful country, like nobody's got a lot of money. You do go fucking people wallop. Like, and I thought, yeah, you can't enjoy it here. In America, it's fucking great. You leave it anywhere, no one gives a shit. In the nicer areas.
I was going to say.
I keep saying America, and I'm thinking about California where I was, but yeah, here it's
in the Hollywood
mindset.
Hills where they have gated communities, you can probably leave it. But
yeah, I heard that Justin Timberlake. What's the famous kid? It's not
Justin Timberlake.
No, it's not.
Oh, Justin Bieber.
Yeah, he's depressed.
Justin Timberlake.
He's depressed now. He's suffering.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's talking
Because
about...
he's Justin Bieber. I mean,
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I'm
if he's been
depressed.
paying attention
What's all the
to...
millions and the butlers, I'm depressed.
Well, no,
again,
but the
that goes
person
back-
he is. I
yeah,
mean,
it goes back
yeah.
to what we were saying. He hasn't really had to
But he's
push
one of...
against
I was
anything.
talking about, he's got one of these situations where his mum is a normal, down-to-earth, supportive person.
Oh, yeah.
But then he's got... His dad is, let's say, less so, and was, when he got once arrested for street racing... along, riding, fast cars. It was his dad who was helping block off the road. And you go, what kind of? But of course, what
The thing
chance did
is,
he have?
though, like any belief I ever had throughout my life, I put a blowtorch to it. Until then, it's just a thought. It doesn't matter how concrete it is in my head. Until you've put pressure on it, it literally doesn't matter how concrete it is. And the same thing you think with money. The second you're millions upon millions, the world around you changes. Everyone's true colours come out. People start acting differently.
Yeah.
There was Oh, what great guy. Terry Crews, the black guy that's in, I watched an interview with him. And it's fascinating because he comes from a poor background, and it was more about like domestic abuse and things that were like terrible stuff. That's why I was watching. I thought, oh God, like it's funny listening to people explain things. And he's quite a tough guy.
Because what was he before he...
He was an American football
Yeah,
player.
he was a footballer,
That was it, right.
And
yeah,
he did American Gladiators, one of those sort of things.
yeah.
But,
Because he's really funny.
He seems like a nice guy,
but
actually.
his
He seems
background's
alright,
terrible. Like he
Yeah.
talks about the time where he beat up his dad because he just had enough, and
that brings it
Well,
he got molested by a producer, didn't he, at some party?
Yeah.
But so the story, it was like he was talking about it, and he's saying like he grew up and his dad, he'd like piss your pants scared of his dad. His dad was just beating his mum up, and his mum was a Christian woman.
Well, this is
didn't
like the Jacksons, isn't it? They were all beaten up by
yeah,
their
that
dad.
sort of thing. And he said, there was one time where, so he'd moved on, he got money and all that. They got old, and he's then had to. His kids have grown up in like Beverly Hills or wherever, you know, not, but you know, they're a different life now, and they had to go together for a Christmas. And he said to his dad, "Look, times ain't what they are." I said, "I don't want my kids seeing nothing like that." And he said, "Yeah, son, you know, whatever." And I'm paraphrasing all this, but took the kids round and had the first Christmas and all that. Went out. Somebody called him up and said, "Your dad's beat your mum up." And he's like, "What?" He said, "I had a conversation with him." And he said, "Yeah, he's knocked her tooth sideways. Like she had to go to the emergency." So he went back to it and he said, He said he said he was Superman. He would have killed me when I was a kid. Like I was petrified, and we didn't question anything. He said he went back, he sat there. He said, "What's going on?" He said, "Get everyone out of the house." And he went back, and then he said, "What's happening?" "Nothing." He said, "Didn't I fucking tell you? Didn't I tell you you're going to bring my kids in?" And then he said, "I beat the shit out of him." He said, "I didn't feel any better afterwards." All that pent up anger. He said, "I didn't feel no better."
No.
But yeah, so he was talking about like coming into money because he went from nothing. There was no big long acting career. He got the Expendables, and then 3 of them top model. So he went from nothing to shitloads of fucking money. He lost all the money after American football. He actually like lost a lot, and he went back to like having.
I'm not sure
what.
what Justin Bieber's upbringing was. No. I know the dad. I think the dad is
But his thing,
troublesome.
he
also.
said it ruined everything. He said, because I'm a nice guy. He said, you got money. He said, people will phone you, family, the car's broken down, I can't get to work. Oh, don't worry about it. It's nothing to him. You know, he's done 3 big
Terry
movies.
Crews,
yeah, like big, and you come from nothing. So you're talking, well, they're 5-10 million a piece, each of those sort of films. So he said, yeah, don't worry about it. He said, but then they keep calling. And then, oh, this has gone wrong. Oh, my house is... And they said you'd see them a few weeks later. So, did you get the car? And he went, oh, no, I'm saving up.
I'd like to think if I knew someone who was like fabulously wealthy like that, I would only sort of call upon them if it was like, look, I'm going to be kicked out of my
I'd
house.
be too embarrassed. So unless it was an
yeah.
emergency. But he said, like, people started coming out of the woodworks and I think Jamaica, where calling up cousins he'd never known. And he said, wherever you go, he said, you could be going into a party. This is what he said. You could go into the party, you can hear everyone at the window having a good time. You go in, suddenly, how you doing? Oh man, I've got this medical bill and this job. And he said, you were all laughing and joking when I was outside, and now I'm in here. Suddenly everyone's got a problem.
Times are hard.
So he had to get an assistant to be a buffer and change his number. He said, because you're just going to there's always going to be an excuse. And he said, now that there's a buffer between him and them, he said, nobody calls anymore. But that's what I mean. You never really know until you've got a load of money and people go, he's fucking, what's it going to matter to him? He's not going to be bothered. And then you do it once and you do it twice. But I thought, yeah, it's like you never really know the people around you until there's money involved.
Well, if you've got £1 million and 10 people ask you for 100 grand, you've got no money now.
Yeah, I mean, that's $1 million. But I mean,
I'm just using a simplified example.
Do you see there's the girl on TV that won, the 16-year-old or something that won all that money, the millions? She won like 4 million. Like years ago, I saw her on TV, and I was in the.
And she was saying it ruined her life.
Yeah, because she's got nothing now. She said, but now she's got like major trust issues because like she doesn't know why do you want to know me.
Did she not put the money into someone into a trust?
16,
Yeah, but surely a
she's
parent.
16.
That's what I'm saying.
I don't think there's a parents on the scene because she just didn't seem to have any. I think she was getting plastic surgery and all that.
Still though, you've had a good few years. Yeah, you've had like
it's better than nothing.
4 million quid like
But
few
at
years.
16, you don't know everyone in clubs, guys talking to you. Yeah, let's get you this, let's get you that. The funny thing, if you watch what's her name, that Katie Price, I predicted her downfall when she came out, and I didn't like her from the start, and for reasons that I can't say on here, that from working in nightclubs and seeing her. And I remember at the time saying she's just a hollow human being. Everything's just she came along right at the beginning of the glamour thing, where you didn't even have to be slim to be a model. You just show your tits. So, like, it was all that sort of ladette.
But she was a slim person, though, wasn't she?
No, but she was just show your tits. She was just one of them. There was no substance to her.
That was like a thing, wasn't it? I remember FHM and Maxim and all that. That was like really big thing.
Yeah,
for
but
a
it was
while,
so
wasn't
it just cheapened everything. But anyway,
Oh,
so
it did. I'm not saying it's a positive thing, but
and
it
as
was,
she grew up,
but it was like a lad thing and a culture thing.
But it was weird
for
how
like
it
a
evolved,
moment.
though, wasn't it? Because it used to be very famous women on the covers of the magazine. They might be on their lingerie and everything like that. It went from that to almost pornography.
yeah, and then it was just anyone.
But with mod, yeah.
And
so
they'd have,
you wouldn't have
they'd have the magazine, whatever they're called.
because it was Nuts and Zoo.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
as
they'd
well,
have.
yeah.
I remember girls in clubs all over the place going, "Oh, can you sign this? If I get enough signatures, they'll put me on the front cover." And you go, "What are you talking about? Oh, just because you got your tits out, but
Signing
you look
what?
like shit."
Signing what, though, sorry?
So there was, if you get 50 signatures, you can get into a competition to then get into the front cover of Maxim.
No,
they were doing it everywhere.
They pay you to do that.
It was a
no, love, you don't want to
promotional-
be asking for signatures, love. No, you want money.
It
You
was,
want money
yeah,
to show
it
your
was
tits.
basically a con. It was just, and I used to look at people and go, "Oh, but I want to be like Jordan." I knew,
But then you would get paid for being on the cover, right?
yeah, but it was just a scam to promotion. You know, that's all it was. And just anyone was showing their tits, and you could be grossly overweight, but you show your tits. It was ridiculous. And but she was great, and I watched it all happen. I watched it all play out in front of me.
Sometimes the things you say.
But that's what it was. If you saw some of these people, you go, "You're a dummy. You don't even know how to put your makeup on your face. You got your tits out. You are seriously overweight." But I'm going to be a model, and I go, "You're not even joking. Like you're not even joking."
But there's plus size models, isn't there?
No, but this wasn't. This wasn't a plus size model. She wasn't a model. It wasn't even about the size. It was just the mess. But anyway, look. No, but listen. I was in clubs, and this was a really regular thing. Like different magazines would. No, but listen. No, if you saw them. Do you remember?
It's just a mess. It's just a mess, man.
Do you remember in
Yeah.
The Simpsons where somebody shoots makeup on them? I think
It's
Homer's makeup shotgun. Yeah.
it was like that. Somebody just shot
Oh, sorry, I've got it set to whore mode.
yeah. But it was like ridiculous. But then everyone started saying, "I'm going to be a glamour model." Like no one used to say that before her and Jodie Marsh. That was another
Yeah.
one. But then suddenly glamour model was
But
cool.
Sam Fox was kind of a big.
Yeah, but that was when
model.
it.
That
But
was
then,
80s.
because of all the magazines coming
Yeah,
out, it was
yeah,
like
yeah.
anyone can be a glamour model. And then the bar got low and it became ridiculous. But then I met her, Katie Price, a few times, which was pissed and other stuff. And just just when you meet someone, you go, you really don't give a fuck about people, do you? Like you're a horrible person.
Yeah, but if she's drunk and
No, it was nothing to do with drunk. It was just, and the people she was around were worse than her. And like I said, I'll tell you stuff off air now that you wouldn't believe. But
I
I'm going to
probably
secretly
could believe
record.
it.
I'm going to secretly record.
and I
this.
could probably cover myself, but I just want to get involved. But now you look at her, and of
I
somebody,
love that. I like all the people you've kind of like. You went after Beyonce. You've done stuff about Trump, you know. But you don't
Follow
want to say. You said a thing about Daniel Craig in his ears earlier. But the
No, but
awesome
this is-
power of Katie Price.
Sorry, Daniel Craig and his goblin ears. Let's
Yeah.
be clear.
Oh Jesus!
No, because
Oh, no.
when I tell you, you'll go, "Oh fuck!" Right? It's not like So but yeah, then just watching her play out and just seeing that just this hollow, plasticky person with nothing inside. And I know people like it because you can take somebody's mindset, even though they're rich, and you can
Right.
find other people that they're like that might not have been successful, but they think the same. And yeah, I just watched her play out over the years and think I said to somebody she's going to end up fucking miserable and on her own. And now look, she's jumping around. She's constantly just trying to. She's like an exaggeration of the Instagram model. It's just what you see. That's all that matters. Anything behind is irrelevant. It's just what you see.
But she's quite candid about her problems, isn't she?
Yeah,
I
but
don't
she's
think she
created
tries.
her own problems, and she's left in her wake all that shit with glamour modelling that she was a massive part of. Don't have to do anything, just show your tits. Yeah, I don't do anything. I mean, the book she...
I think the
book she wrote
editors and
that
the
was-
proprietors also had something to do with these glamour mags.
And it was the first part of what they do with, and I had a rap argument with somebody about this with rappers. They go, they're a businessman. What are you talking about? They're famous. People come up to them and say, we've got to their business manager. They want to bring out a trainer, or we want to do a book.
wanna put
you
George
start-
Clooney in
Perfume
having-
line or whatever.
anything.
yeah,
They're not
yeah.
business people. Don't be stupid. They don't know about starting up a bit. Ask them about accounts. They don't know anything, so they call themselves entrepreneurs. They don't know nothing. They go, trainers. There's a few trainer companies. Which ones do you like? That one? What, do you want to change the colour of it? Yeah, do that one. Yeah, I like that. Right. And then they go, hey, do you like my trainer range? I'm an entrepreneur. What are you talking? You don't know anything. All the problems of being an entrepreneur at the start. Not going, yeah, there's much. It's like the Trump thing. It's licensing your name. That's all
Yeah,
it is.
you're just selling. You literally slapping.
But she was that. Oh, there's some books. I'm an author. Oh, are you really an author? Yeah.
But she did write I think her biographies and autobiographies were ghostwritten. Well, the kids' books she
Yeah,
wrote were
I
real.
think
weren't
they-
They
they're-
were written by her. weren't they?
I thought she made a joke that says, "Oh, I've never read a book. I've never finished a book
Yeah.
in my life. I haven't even finished reading the ones that supposedly were
Yeah,
written
and
by
you
me.
can.
Oh, okay.
They would just get to the
I don't know
legal
if it was a
limit.
joke, but-
They would got to the legal limit of what can be called an author. Well, I sort of
Yeah, but
said
many
that
Bergs are
this.
ghost written, aren't they? I don't
No,
think
but it's
she's,
that thing she keeps selling of herself that I've done this.
But she
and
did
I've
write
done
the kids' books that she wrote. I don't know if she writes them anymore, but she did write.
Well, she
kids'
did the
books,
fitness
didn't she?
video, and she grassed herself up because she said somewhere that she did the fitness video, and it turned out she just had a load of liposuction because she'd done something, and she went, "Oh, I've never." On outside of the video, she went, "Oh, bloody, hell, I've never done so much exercise." And she went, "Oh, apart from my video." She like,
Yeah,
forgot.
that's a little bit naughty because you are selling the lie there.
And she's just like she's typical of some people I knew that just wanted
That's
everything.
true. Or is
And now look, she has lost everything. She's just this grabbing at straws to just be seen and be known and be famous, and that's good when you're before 40. Once you're not the pretty girl anymore and you can't sell that, what else is behind her? Well, nothing. I just got to keep selling the same stories and the same bollocks.
she had a stab at being a pop star, didn't she?
Well, that's what I mean. She's just firing off in every angle. She doesn't know what she's doing.
Tried to get the Olympic team.
Did she?
Yes,
What?
equestrian team, the Olympic equestrian team.
But she owns horses. Doesn't
Yes, she did. She
Yeah.
actually
That wasn't just like a random lie.
She's
Oh.
a show. Does show jumping. I
Yeah.
think she's actually quite into horsey jumping.
Trying everything to.
I
I
think
think
she's
she's still
been in that
driving
for a
around
while.
in a pink Range Rover.
because there
Yeah.
was
I'm a princess.
yeah, there was somebody who was, I think they were a musician of some kind, and they got into, as their dream to compete, and they got into it was a skiing thing or something like that, and they managed to get in through, they weren't even from this country that they were representing. They were American. I can't remember who it was. But the thing was, and then it turned out it was also dodging. Basically, they bribed their way to get, because they're best friends, sisters, husbands, aunties, nephews, neighbour, blah blah blah. It's not even how I could theoretically, through my sort of Chinese heritage, I could qualify to play for China in football or something like that. Cause I
Yeah,
think
there's
it has to
probably
be
a lot of that
grandparent.
goes on.
But there has to be a grandparent, doesn't there? Whereas I think with them.
That really annoys me when people start qualifying. People go, "Oh, I'm going to play for like Wales, or I'm going to play for Ireland," and they've never been there in their life. And I get it, okay,
Yeah.
family connection, blah blah. But like, people just never been there. Like, and
I think Escobar was famous for that, like cousins turning up on the national football team and like just give him the ball. Who was the guy
fine.
that got killed? Didn't he killed somebody? Didn't he?
It was it one of
He let the
the
goal
Chile
in.
squad?
He might have been the goalkeeper. or
Uh,
something.
No,
the
Colombia,
defender.
wasn't it?
Oh, it was Colombia. Yeah, it was
Yeah, it was
Colombia.
Colombia,
I think it was a centre back, wasn't he? And he made an error.
Yeah,
something like
yeah.
that.
And he got shot in the car park or something, didn't he? After this
Jesus
dreadful.
Have you watched Narcos, the thing?
Other TV shows are available.
Yeah. No,
Oh, it's good.
I've watched
That's
a few.
pretty good.
I have I struggle with subtitles because
Yeah.
it's too much to read. No, but I tend to watch things when I'm doing other stuff.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Also, the subtitles just mess it up.
So I tend to not watch subtitle stuff. It's a shame because a lot of stuff's really good and a lot of stuff like, oh, it's really cool. But like, but just with subtitle stuff, I'm always working, I'm writing, I'm doing other work, or I'm doing the washing or whatever. You know what I mean? I'm doing stuff. And so I don't often sit and watch something just and watch it. I'm always doing something else.
You've got to decanter things in life. So you have to, if you're going to enjoy something, enjoy it. Like, do you know what I've started using? Because I'm trying to sort of get myself to sleep at night because my
Right.
brain doesn't turn off. So I've started watching the original series of, oh God, the fucking not like Brief Encounters. What's the other one? The Twilight Zone.
Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah.
Just what? Because they're so slow. Like,
But also, I find there's something about black and white.
yeah, it's
That makes-
I mean, it must literally be less vivid.
Yeah, maybe.
But you just watch them and they're quite slow. Like it's not nowadays where the editing again. I've always said about the editing, where it would just be, and it's funny to watch the commentator. He's always got a cigarette in his hand. Just it's cool.
Is it
and
Rod?
trendy.
Was it Rod?
Oh, I've no idea.
Is it Rod Sterling? Is that right?
Oh,
Black
maybe.
Hair,
Yeah.
the original series. It's just
Consider
where
this.
it's-
Consider this.
Yeah,
Yeah.
And it just pans like they're in the same room. It just
A
pans
man
over
who's
to him.
afraid of Katie Price and her lawyers.
And look how it's turned out.
But that was the thing. I love the fact that all the people, and she's the one you're like, oh, I don't love Katie.
No, because this is like it's
Yeah.
not having a go at someone, and I was there, and it's worse than you think.
Oh,
so
God,
that, yeah,
this is so awesome.
and that's anyway.
It's not very involving for the
I
listeners.
had a mate who was a journalist. He did a bit of journalism, worked for, I'm not going to say which, but one of the, the line things, so like Reuters or Allied Press, Associated Press. So one of the,
Was it one of those two? I love that you said, I'm not going to tell you, and you gave us only two options.
there are many others, news service or whatever. Than what, it's like an aggregate news, thing. The
Yeah,
web,
yeah, yeah.
Thing. And they said that there's three
The
people.
Reuters.
They said there's three people.
Associated Press.
There's three people you're not allowed to write stories on.
Okay.
Am I allowed to say the three?
Well, I don't know, are you? As in
types of people.
No, there's 3 specific.
Well, if you're not
individuals.
saying,
Yeah.
surely you can say if of them because you're not saying why.
They said there's 3 people. You said you can do stories. He was doing, I think, some celebrity section.
When you say like do, as in can
The Queen.
Can you explain why you can't?
They said that there's 3 people who are very litigious and very.
Oh, right.
Can you
Well,
be sued for
Scientology.
saying that people
They will
sue?
block things. Well, they just block things, and they will. They
No,
will.
but I'm just curious. You can't be sued for saying that someone is.
No, you're not.
litigious,
You're not
can
worried
you?
about saying it, are you? Or are you?
Pardon,
Sorry.
No, it's just doing stories, maybe not.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Fine.
I think I just, it's terrible that I don't know the laws in this country. In the laws in America, you can publish as long as you believe it to be true at the point
Yeah.
of you doing it. So if you know something is intentionally false,
Yeah.
unless you're
Yeah.
reporting that there is a false allegation of someone, you're reporting someone else has reported a lie,
Yeah.
which is doable. But yeah, if you believe it to be true at the point of publishing, then you avoid.
I think we're cut. I
those
don't.
things.
Well, what's the problem over here then? What's the difference over here?
I don't know. I think
Well,
it's
here
pretty much the same.
slander, and you can't knowingly tell a lie about someone, or you can't say something.
It would damage their character.
Yeah. If
Oh,
it's
it gets a bit
and,
grey
and
area.
earnings and stuff. Yeah.
yeah, but some people want to be litigious because they just want to be private.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
don't
that's-
think
that's-
I
you
don't
can't-
see it.
so who's
I don't see
no-
it.
Okay, the 3.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was.
Are they English?
Is it Tom Cruise? I would
They
guess.
were 3 English celebrities.
okay.
Celebrities. but
Elton
3
John is notoriously litigious.
Oh, is he? There are tons of, because he said this, and I was like, yeah, I was like, oh, that's really interesting. And I was thinking, oh, there's loads
Most
of
people are, yeah.
Because I was thinking Mosley and people, you know what I mean? Like,
So go on, give us one.
okay, Ricky Gervais.
No.
Sweet. And I'm repeating the story, man.
Do you think that's true? Ricky Gervais.
The only reason I would think
He's
of that is
private,
because,
so he sort of keeps to himself. There's nothing to sell.
but maybe that's why he's private because he sues it. Sues
Okay.
people.
Number 2,
Oh, look at the rundown.
Nigel Farage.
Yeah, that makes sense. I
What
guess
does he do?
He's the
UKIP
former leader
guy.
of UKIP. He's sort of the
Oh,
champion
I know.
of one of the.
right.
Just
Oh,
personal stories, this
Yeah.
is. You know what
Yeah,
I
but I
mean?
think
Not
that's
necessarily.
reasonable.
And he's-
Public figure, he's a bit thing about his image.
Yeah, but I think like because he's said, for example, I'll be sitting at dinner and me and my family will get harassed, and I think don't harass his family. That's nothing to
Yeah,
do
of
with. If
course,
you
yeah.
disagree with his politics, well, don't harass him anyway.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
not-
Yeah.
we live in a
Get involved in politics
They
if
go,
you're that
oh,
bothered
he's,
about
yeah,
it.
but it was also like, oh, he's not. It's like, well, he was elected. He's an MEP.
Yeah.
He is elected.
Yeah.
So go on.
Which always annoys me because he's like, I'm not a career politician. And it's like, dude, you've been a leader of a political party for 25 years. You've been an elected MEP for just as long. You spent most of your working life in politics. And yet you're like, oh, I'm not a career
But he has,
politician.
he has always stated, though, that his point is, I don't think we should be in Europe. And it's kind of like, I'm going to fight as long as I can doing this thing that I don't want to do. And then as soon as we're out of it, it's fold mission. UKIP have disappeared.
Yeah.
They did say afterward, because it was mission accomplished, we don't need any more power. I think that's his view anyway.
Yeah,
That's what I
yeah.
believe.
But he's still hanging around like a wet fart, though.
But that's also because he's like, I want Brexit to be the Brexit that people voted for. That's
right.
what I believe. That's what I'm sure that's right.
So go on, who's the third?
Anyway,
Okay, I'm number 1 of the most litigious
award goes to-
the people.
Apparently.
Yes,
Not apparently,
allegedly,
yeah.
allegedly, the McCann family.
Yeah, but again, you can. Let's really be careful about that. But I can see because I can see Theo.
That's why I saved that one to last because I was
could
like,
see
that's
Theo
a
about
lead
that.
balloon there.
Yeah, but I can
yeah.
understand that because I was talking about someone with this the other day, and I saw someone's Facebook rant that was being shared around. They were saying fact 1, fact 2, and I'm like, I'm sorry, I've never heard of these well-known facts that you're talking about. Saying, and then when she was in, when who's the mother? Kate, isn't it? Is that right? Kate McCann. I
Katie
think that-
McCann, yeah.
Yeah, because it's Kate and Jerry, isn't it? Right. So Kate McCann, and I was saying, and in the police interview, she said this. I'm like, I'm sorry, when were you present in the police interview?
Yeah.
Random woman on Facebook.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's just people getting abuse and sick of it. Like, that's not a
So
litigious
I
people.
don't see. But yeah, most of these Gervais surprises me because I can understand.
Yeah,
the
that
Farage
made
because
me a
obviously
bit-
because he's obviously a big target and he's a target for mockery. I mean, so are the McCanns to be. Everyone kind of. There's always dark humour.
When you
We've
said
all-
Elton
we've all-
John, I thought, I see what you
Well,
mean.
I think that was in the past. I think,
Right.
as far as I'm aware now,
He's got a film coming out, hasn't he? The
but also he's
bio-
kind of gotten to that point in his life where he has no fucks to give, doesn't he?
Yeah, I mean,
He
does he
doesn't
look at
give-
papers or?
I mean, I love that thing where he said about he got an award or something like that, and he slagged off Madonna and said, she's ripping off people for a miming tour. That's me, but she can fuck off, doing anything. When he gets really cross, and then he said, that's me off her fucking Christmas list. And then, sorry, I'm swearing, but I'm repeating what it was to the gist of that. And then, but Madonna's team released some things saying, blah blah blah. Madonna doesn't mind. She's not upset with Elton, and he's still on her Christmas list, which I thought was quite funny. Yeah, I'm surprised. The McCanns I can understand because, as I say, these things, you know,
There were a lot of whispers and
yeah, exactly. I think the because I'm sure we've all seen or shared or whatever the silly memes about them and whatnot. Because you laugh at things that are horrifying because that's how we cope with them.
Yeah,
That's
why are
the
people
coping
having a go at them though?
But well, because they say that they're involved or something like that. Or,
Fucking hell.
I know. I think that's nonsense. I'm sorry.
it's a whole bad thing. It's a terrible, terrible thing
Well,
that happens.
I forgot
Yeah.
we've got stuff to do. Are you right for half an hour after here, or have you got to go?
No, yeah.
You got time?
A little bit.
Yeah, we got time. We were talking about litigiousness.
No, I was going to end the show just so we can get on. What I was going to say is just
There will be no more talking.
to end on a funny note.
Okay.
I was listening to something on the BBC radio the other day, and it was a guy who'd worked with Frankie Howard up Pompeii. Frankie
Oh, yeah,
Howard?
yeah.
Yeah. Who's
We're up with our
for people that
current
don't know
popper.
who he is. I mean, you've got to
Yeah.
go. So, but he used to wear a wig. He was well known for wearing a wig, but he wouldn't admit that he had a wig on. And the woman said, like, no word of a lie. Like, he would deny it was a terrible wig as well. It would be different places. And this is early days wigs. It was
Yeah,
a bit sellotape.
I guess I never thought about it, but I suppose so, yeah.
But it was all, when you see it, when you watch now.
No,
you
no,
think
I'm
it
now
looks
thinking, I'm now flashing.
that looks like a wig. But you go, no, that's his hair. That's not like a wig.
It's great podcast content.
And the makeup,
Yeah, thinking
the
about
makeup
wigs.
lady said, right, that she could see it's a wig and he would deny it to her face, like even she was joking about it. When they wanted to put a big wig on him, they had to put the wig on top of the wig.
The wig on top of the
He
wig.
wouldn't
Yeah,
take it off.
No, I've heard this. Yes, they'd have to fit another wig.
Because he wouldn't
As
admit.
if
he would not
and they'd
admit.
have to glue it on like it was like his head, and no one would mention.
was
But
he-
bless them, they did. She said no one mentioned it, and like no one talked about it. They
let
were
him
just
keep
like,
his dignity
yeah, they were
then.
just like,
I mean,
oh,
no,
all right, fine.
I think Frankie Howard's fucking great. I thought he
Yeah,
was
that's
thought
what
he was-
let him,
yeah.
let him keep his
Fantastic.
dignity.
Yeah,
You know,
funny
he
guy,
wasn't
yeah.
hurting
Frankie
anyone.
Howard, the man without a wig. Rest in peace. Right, well, that's that done. So how are you feeling about being a member of the show now?
Yes, it was.
Yeah, you
excellent.
got through it.
Yeah.
Imagine if he said, no, I hate it.
It's next time there's just going to be a line on the wall. It's going to be crossing them off like a jail
exactly.
cell.
He'll be like,
Another one bites the dust.
Are we always getting the...
I mean, the producers were ready to cut
Oh,
us
he's-
off as we speak.
He's already going out the door. He's got his suitcase ready.
He's had enough.
You off then?
we
Yeah,
off?
you off.
Oh,
Are we calling it a day
go
then?
on, hit it. So that's us done.
Yeah,
Cheerio.
so goodbye.
Bye-bye.